Chapter 1620. What? Do you know him? King Qian asked as his eyes lit up when he noticed Yi Feng's loss of composure. To be honest, when he received the portrait from Yi Mu Bai, he was not confident he would be able to find the person in the portrait, let alone avenge Yi Mu Bai. But now the portrait had accidentally fallen to the ground, causing Yi Feng to react in such a way. Because of that, he realized that Yi Feng might recognize the person in the portrait. Yi Feng seems to be my lucky star. King Qian thought to himself. Fourth Imperial Highness, isn't that the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian? After taking a deep breath, Yi Feng regained his senses. When he heard King Qian's question, he asked in surprise. When he heard King Qian's words, he realized King Qian had never seen Duan Lingtian before. However, if King Qian had never seen Duan Lingtian before, why would he have Duan Lingtian's portrait? He could not figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. What? He's the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian? Even King Qian was shocked when he heard Yi Feng's words. The person Yi Mu Bai wants me to help him kill is the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian? The owner of the Devil Seal tablet? Isn't this too much of a coincidence? The two old men behind King Qian looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Fourth Imperial Highness, Yi Feng did not understand what was going on. After one of the old men behind King Qian explained, Yi Feng finally understood what was going on. His eyes lit up immediately. How can there be such a coincidence? Naturally, Duan Lingtian did not know what was going on in King Qian's estate. Moreover, he did not know that he had already been targeted by someone. The person who targeted him must have a high status and power in Windfall Nation. At this moment, Duan Lingtian happened to bring Feng Wu Dao to the Drift Blaze sect. Ever since he came to the Drift Blaze sect to challenge Feng Qianwu, there were very few people in the Drift Blaze sect who had not seen Duan Lingtian before. Therefore, when he arrived at the Drift Blaze sect's monastery gate, the few Drift Blaze sect's disciples who were guarding the monastery gate immediately recognized Duan Lingtian. If Duan Lingtian had only defeated their Drift Blaze sect's Lady Feng, they might not have given him any face. However, based on the previous situation, this interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, had a close relationship with their Drift Blaze sect's Lady Feng. Mr. Duan. For this reason, when they faced Duan Lingtian, the few Drift Blaze sect's disciples did not dare to be negligent as they greeted him respectfully. I'm here to look for Miss Feng and your sect master. Duan Lingtian said to the Drift Blaze sect's disciples. The reason Duan Lingtian mentioned the sect master of Drift Blaze sect was because he wanted her to know about Feng Wu Dao's existence so that she could take care of him. Mr. Duan, please. Soon after, a Drift Blaze sect's disciple led the way and brought Duan Lingtian into the Drift Blaze sect. Along the way, more and more Drift Blaze sect's disciples noticed Duan Lingtian. When they saw Duan Lingtian had come to the Drift Blaze sect again, they could not help but discuss among themselves. Why is this interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, here in our Drift Blaze sect again? He has a special relationship with Lady Feng. Isn't it normal for him to come here? That's right. It's normal for lovers to meet each other. A commotion broke out in the surroundings. Many of the Drift Blaze sect's male disciples had a desolate expression on their faces. The number one powerhouse among the younger generation in Drift Blaze sect, the number one beauty in Drift Blaze sect, had actually been snatched away by an outsider. When Feng Wu Dao heard the discussion among the Drift Blaze sect's disciples, he could not help but take another look at Duan Lingtian. He sincerely hoped that his daughter would be together with Duan Lingtian even though Duan Lingtian already had two fiancées who were pregnant. Perhaps they had already given birth to their child. He believed that his daughter would not be at a disadvantage even if she was together with Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was a person with a strong sense of responsibility. After learning that Duan Lingtian had come, the sect master of Drift Blaze sect, Ziyun, personally summoned him. Sect Master Ziyun. After greeting Ziyun, Duan Lingtian glanced around. However, he did not see Feng Qianwu at all. Sect Master Ziyun, where's Feng Qianwu? Feng Qianwu is currently in closed-door cultivation, Ziyun said. Ziyun said, her closed-door cultivation in the future will affect her breakthrough. If there's nothing urgent, it's best not to disturb her. Based on her words, it seemed as though she was reminding Duan Lingtian not to disturb Feng Qianwu's cultivation if there was nothing urgent. Although Feng Qianwu's heart was only with Duan Lingtian, and she did not object to it, she was not optimistic about the relationship between the two of them. In her opinion, since Feng Qianwu had obtained the 7 absolute sects Blazing Phoenix progeny's inheritance, it would not be difficult for her to soar in the future. Sooner or later she would surpass Duan Tian. At that time, even if Feng Qianwu did not dislike Duan Tian might not continue to be with Feng Qianwu. Although she did not spend much time with Duan Tian, she could tell he was a man with a strong sense of pride. Greetings, sect leader Zi Yun. At this moment, Feng Wudao also bowed to Zi Yun. At the same time, he said to Duan Tian, "Boy, since Tian Wu is at a critical juncture in her cultivation, let's not disturb her for the time being." "All right." Duan Tian nodded. "This is?" Zi Yun had long noticed Feng Wudao. Moreover, she felt that the expression between Feng Wudao's brows gave her a sense of déjà vu. Now that she heard Feng Wudao's words, she could not help but look at Duan Tian and asked, "This is Uncle Feng, Tian Wu's biological father." Duan Tian said to Zi Yun, "Thank you, sect leader Zi Yun, for taking care of Tian Wu in these past few years." Feng Wudao bowed towards Zi Yun as he said respectfully, "Tian Wu's biological father." After hearing Duan Tian's words, Zi Yun's eyes could not help but light up. When she noticed that Feng Wudao was bowing to her, she immediately used her true energy to form an invisible force and lifted Feng Wudao up. "So you're Tian Wu's father. Tian Wu has mentioned you to me many times over these past few years." When facing Feng Wudao, Zi Yun's attitude was completely different. Not only was she kind, she even had a smile on her face. It was as if she was a completely different person. "This treatment?" Duan Tian shook his head. "You've given birth to a good daughter." Zi Yun smiled as she led Feng Wudao to the seat below the main seat in the hall. Only then did she return to her seat and said to Feng Wudao with a smile, "It's all because of sect leader Zi Yun's guidance." Feng Wudao said modestly. Soon Zi Yun and Feng Qianwu became familiar with each other. Feng Wudao would occasionally mention some of Feng Qianwu's past and Zi Yun listened with great interest. For a time, Duan Tian seemed to have been isolated and became a foil. Half an hour later, Feng Wudao finally remembered Duan Tian. He smiled awkwardly before he said to Zi Yun, "Speaking of which, it's all thanks to that boy Ling Tian that I was able to escape from the Dark Nether sect." "Dark Nether sect? Escape?" Zi Yun frowned. "What's going on?" Feng Wudao told Zi Yun about how he was captured by the Dark Nether sect to be a slave. "What a Dark Nether sect?" Zi Yun sneered. "To think that they even dared to capture the father of my direct disciple to be a slave. Yi Feng really has the guts of a leopard." "Mr. Feng, don't worry. Zi Yun will definitely give you an explanation for this matter. There's no need for that." Upon hearing this, Feng Wudao shook his head. "Mr. Feng, don't tell me you don't believe me?" Zi Yun frowned. "Sect leader Zi Yun, you've misunderstood. I said there's no need for that because the Dark Nether sect only exists in name now. The Dark Nether sect's supreme elder is dead, and the sect leader has escaped. Even if you want to go to the Dark Nether sect's estate to settle the score, I'm afraid you won't be able to find the real culprit." Feng Wudao hastily explained. "What's going on?" Zi Yun was stunned. She glanced at Duan Tian before she asked Feng Wudao. The Drift Blaze sect that she controlled was a force that was only second to the imperial family in Windfall Nation. Naturally, her intelligence network was extremely shocking. She knew about the relationship between the Dark Nether sect and the Situ clan. For this reason, she knew the Situ clan would not help Duan Tian to attack the Dark Nether sect. "I'm not too sure about the details. It seems like some powerhouse came to the Dark Nether sect and killed the Dark Nether sect's supreme elder. It scared the Dark Nether sect's elder so much that he fled. While the Dark Nether sect was in chaos, that boy Ling Tian came and took the opportunity to rescue us." Feng Wudao, who originally wanted to tell the truth, changed his mind when he heard Duan Tian's voice transmission. Although he did not know why Duan Tian did not want him to tell the truth, he knew there must be a reason for him to do so. Along the way, his trust in Duan Tian had reached an unconditional level. For this reason, he would do whatever Duan Tian asked him to do. Naturally, Duan Tian had his reasons for asking Feng Wudao to change his mind. If everyone knew he was the one who killed the Dark Nether sect's supreme elder, it would not be a good thing for him. After all, he was only a Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator. For a Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator to kill a Saint stage powerhouse, this was truly unbelievable. Although most people would not think of the Devil Seal tablet when this news spread out, there would definitely be people who would be curious about the method he used to kill the Saint stage powerhouse. At that time, the curious people would swarm over and annoy him to death. It was fine if he was annoyed to death. However, he was most afraid of a powerhouse personally coming and forcing him to tell the truth. At that time, how would he face it? However, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect, Yi Feng, is still alive. He's still a hidden danger. Duan Lingtian's heart sank when he recalled Yi Feng, who knew he had the Devil Seal tablet in his possession. He had a bad feeling about this. Yi Feng would definitely use the fact that he had the Devil Seal tablet in his possession to stir up trouble. At that time he would be in deep trouble. So that's how it is. After listening to Feng Wudao's explanation, realization dawned on Zi Yun. If that's the case, all of you are quite lucky. As for the powerhouse who killed the Dark Nether sect's supreme elder and scared the sect leader of Dark Nether sect to the point of fleeing, he must be a powerhouse the Dark Nether sect had offended. The Dark Nether sect's reputation in Windfall Nation isn't good. They would not shrink from any crime. I think they've kicked an iron plate this time. Chapter 1621. Since Feng Qianwu was in closed-door cultivation, Duan Lingtian did not see Feng Qianwu this time. Lingtian boy, aren't you going to stay with me? Feng Wudao, who was invited by Zi Yun, the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, to stay, asked when he heard that Duan Lingtian was leaving. Uncle Feng, you haven't seen Tianwu for many years. You'll be able to see her when she comes out of closed-door cultivation if you stay in Drift Blaze sect. As for me, I have some things to do, so I'm afraid I won't be able to accompany you. Duan Lingtian said apologetically. Seeing that Duan Lingtian had made up his mind, Feng Wudao did not say anything else. Be careful then. Don't worry. Duan Lingtian nodded and bade farewell to Zi Yun before he left. He left the Drift Blaze sect and made his way back. As soon as he left Drift Blaze sect, tens of thousands of solidified sword rays appeared in the air with Duan Lingtian as the center. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The sword rays whistled and gathered together to form a flying sword that hovered under Duan Lingtian's feet. It brought Duan Lingtian along as it flew back to Windfall Nation at a terrifying speed. Whoosh. Duan Lingtian's figure flashed like a ghost. His speed was ridiculously fast. At this moment, the few imminent Saint Stage martial cultivators sent by Situ Hao, the clan leader of Situ clan, were left far behind by Duan Lingtian. After the few of them appeared, they looked at each other with their mouths agape. Is he really an imminent Saint Stage powerhouse like us? Although his speed is not as fast as a Saint Stage powerhouse, it's much faster than us imminent Saint Stage powerhouses. It's almost on par with a Saint Stage powerhouse's speed. The interim advisor of our Situ clan, Master Duan, is really not a simple person. Put everything else aside, I'm afraid even the person who ranks first on the heaven ranking is far from his speed. Among all the martial techniques in the world, only speed is invincible. Master Duan might not be at a disadvantage even if he's facing the person who ranks first on the heaven ranking. After discussing in a low voice for a while, they finally returned to the capital of Windfall Nation. However, along the way they completely lost sight of Duan Lingtian. Naturally, there was a reason why Duan Lingtian was in a hurry to return to the capital of Windfall Nation and the Situ clan. He knew the news about the Dark Nether sect would definitely spread to the capital of Windfall Nation in a few days. At that time, when Situ Ming's faction learned that the Dark Nether sect only existed in name, they would be so angry that they would vomit blood. And in that case he might very well do something desperate. What he needed to do was to go back and help Situ Hao and his son. Although he wasn't a match for Sage Stage powerhouses who weren't demonic cultivators, he wasn't afraid of anyone who was below the Sage Stage. In fact, he could kill as many as they came. This was his confidence. Just as Duan Lingtian had expected, a few days after he returned to the Situ clan, the news about the Dark Nether sect had already spread to the capital of Windfall Nation and the Situ clan. One of the two great Saint Stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect, the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether sect, has been killed. The sect leader of Dark Nether sect has gone missing. The Dark Nether sect's estate is empty. The Dark Nether sect only exists in name. This time, the Dark Nether sect will most likely disappear from the history of Windfall Nation. Similar rumors spread everywhere in the capital of Windfall Nation. Following the spread of this news, the Situ clan was completely silent. However, Duan Lingtian knew this was just the calm before the storm. Master Duan, thank you. The clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao, paid a visit to Duan Lingtian again. His tone was filled with gratitude. Although he had learned the news about the Dark Nether sect only existing in name when Duan Lingtian returned, and he trusted Duan Lingtian, this news had undoubtedly dealt a huge blow to the arrogance of Situ Ming's faction. It made him even more grateful to Duan Lingtian. Clan leader Situ, you don't have to be so polite. In some aspects we're on the same boat. We're on the same boat, Duan Tian said with a faint smile. As the clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao naturally knew what Duan Tian meant. Indeed, when Duan Tian removed the devil inscription on his son's body, Duan Tian had already stood on their side, opposing Situ Ming's faction. Unlike Situ Hao's faction whose morale was greatly boosted, Situ Ming's faction was the complete opposite. In Situ Ming's courtyard, a loud bang sounded. Situ Ming had smashed the teacup in his hand to the ground. Can anyone tell me what's going on? Situ Hao and Situ Ho didn't leave the Situ clan at all. How did the Dark Nether sect suffer such a calamity? Father, do you think this matter has something to do with Duan Tian? Situ Zhua, who was standing at the side, asked through gritted teeth as his eyes gleamed coldly. Previously, it was Duan Tian who had ruined his plan and saved Situ Hang. Otherwise, he would have replaced Situ Hang and become the first successor of Situ clan. Duan Tian? Upon hearing Situ Zhua's words, Situ Ming frowned. I'm already shocked that he managed to kill Zhou Shu. One of the two Saint Stage powerhouses in the Dark Nether sect is dead, and the other is missing. Do you think he's capable of doing that? Father, perhaps he didn't do it on his own accord? Situ Zhua insisted. He has an unusual relationship with Lady Feng from the Drift Blaze sect. Perhaps, he asked the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect to kill the Supreme Elder of Dark Nether sect through Lady Feng? Moreover, the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect didn't even have to do it herself. All she had to do was to send the powerhouses under her command. Impossible. Situ Ming shook his head. Under Situ Zhua's puzzled gaze, he explained, one of the two vice sect leaders of Drift Blaze sect is a good friend of mine. He has an important position in Drift Blaze sect. Even the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect thinks highly of him. If the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect made a move, or if the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect sent someone to do it, it's impossible for him to not know about it. As long as he knows about it, he'll definitely inform me immediately. Therefore, this possibility doesn't exist. Situ Ming said confidently. He had a close relationship with the vice sect leader of Drift Blaze sect. If the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect didn't make a move, there are only two possibilities. One is that Duan Tian is a Saint Stage powerhouse. The second possibility is that the Dark Nether sect has offended a powerful enemy and is digging their own grave. Situ Zhong, the supreme elder of Situ clan who was on Situ Ming's side, chimed in. Perhaps our train of thought has been wrong since the beginning. The incident at the Dark Nether sect's stronghold in the capital was actually a signal. We all thought it was Duan Tian who made a move. However, other than the fact that Duan Tian was not in the Situ clan at that time, there's no evidence to prove it was Duan Tian who made the move. Situ Ming took a deep breath as his train of thought gradually cleared up. Perhaps that incident had nothing to do with Duan Tian. As for whether Duan Tian is a Saint Stage powerhouse, that's impossible. When he left with Lady Feng's father from Drift Blaze sect, I used my divine consciousness to observe him from afar. I didn't sense the aura of a Saint Stage powerhouse from him at all. Although I didn't disturb him, I'm certain he's definitely not a Saint Stage powerhouse. Situ Ming said confidently. In that case, whether it's the incident at the Dark Nether sect's stronghold in the capital or the incident at the Dark Nether sect this time, it has nothing to do with Duan Tian? Situ Zhua frowned. It was obvious he was slightly displeased. He hoped that this incident had something to do with Duan Tian. If that was the case, his father would definitely kill Duan Tian at all costs in a fit of rage. That should be the case. Situ Ming nodded. His eyes gleamed fiercely. That Dark Nether sect really can't do anything right. Especially that Yi Feng. I've already told him to restrain his disciples and stop causing trouble everywhere, but he refused to listen. Now even he's gone missing. I don't even know if he's dead or alive. Second Master. Just when Situ Ming thought the Dark Nether sect had ended up like this because they had provoked a powerful enemy, a voice resonated from outside the courtyard. Come in. Situ Ming raised an eyebrow and called out indifferently. Soon after, Situ Ming saw one of his Situ clan's elders bringing a middle-aged man into the courtyard. Second Master. The Situ clan's elder bowed at Situ Ming. Greetings, Second Master Ming. After the ordinary-looking middle-aged man entered the courtyard, the first thing he did was to look at Situ Ming and greet him indifferently. There was a hint of arrogance in his eyes as though he disdained to bow in front of Situ Ming. Upon seeing this, Situ Ming's expression turned grave immediately. Who are you? How dare you not bow when you see my father? Situ Zhua's eyes gleamed coldly as he shouted in his deep voice. Whoosh. When the middle-aged man raised his hand, a dazzling golden order token appeared in his hand. he faced Situ Zhua, causing his expression to turn grave immediately. This was because he saw the 3 words on the Golden Order token. King Qian's estate. This person was from King Qian's estate? The moment Situ Zhua thought of this, his face turned pale immediately. Heavens! Earlier he had actually shouted at the people from King Qian's estate? Naturally, he knew very well what it meant for someone to be able to take out the Golden Order token from King Qian's estate. This meant the other party was working for King Qian. When Situ Ming and Situ Zhong saw the Golden Order token from King Qian's estate, both of them could not help but frown. So it's the lord from King Qian's estate. Situ Ming nodded at the middle-aged man. May I know why you're here, lord? Although the middle-aged man before him was not a saint stage powerhouse, since he was from King Qian's estate, he was not someone Situ Ming could easily offend. Moreover, since the other party came with the Golden Order token from King Qian's estate, it was obvious he was here on King Qian's orders. Second Master Ming, I'm here on behalf of the 4th Imperial Highness to invite you to King Qian's estate. The middle-aged man said bluntly. The moment his words left his mouth, not only did Situ Ming's expression turn grave, but even Situ Zhong, Situ Zhua, and the Situ clan's elders' expression changed drastically. Chapter 1622. However, the 4th prince, King Qian, had actually sent someone to invite Situ Ming to King Qian's estate. If Situ Ming went, it would not be good news for him if news of this spread out. The Situ clan supporting the 2nd prince was the decision made by the old ancestor of Situ clan. If one dared to disobey the old ancestor's order, there was only one outcome waiting for them, to be expelled from the Situ clan. Please help me tell His Highness King Qian that I appreciate his kindness. Situ Ming said to the middle-aged man from King Qian's estate. The 4th Imperial Highness King Qian has long expected 2nd Master Ming to reject him. Apart from inviting you over, he also asked me to tell you that Yi Feng is waiting for you in King Qian's estate. The middle-aged man said. Yi Feng. Upon hearing the middle-aged man's words, Situ Ming's eyes widened immediately. Even Situ Zhua, Situ Zhong, and the Situ clan's elders' expressions changed slightly. Naturally, they were familiar with the name Yi Feng. Yi Feng was the sect leader of Dark Nether sect. Today they had just received news that the supreme elder of Dark Nether sect had been killed, and the sect leader of Dark Nether sect was nowhere to be found. The Dark Nether sect only existed in name. Now that someone from King Qian's estate had come, he even said Yi Feng was in King Qian's estate. Don't tell me the Dark Nether sect has offended King Qian's estate? The moment Situ Ming thought of this, his heartbeat quickened. He looked at the middle-aged man in panic. Sir, please tell His Highness King Qian that although I, Situ Ming, have some ties with the Dark Nether sect, I have nothing to do with what the Dark Nether sect has done. At this moment, all Situ Ming wanted to do was to clear his name. 2nd Master Ming, you can explain yourself if you want to. Forgive me for not being able to help you. The middle-aged man said indifferently. Moreover, the 4th Imperial Highness King Qian asked me to tell you that if you're unwilling to follow me to King Qian's estate, you'll have to bear the consequences. Bear the consequences. The moment the middle-aged man's words left his mouth, Situ Ming and the others' expressions turned grave. Situ Ming looked at Situ Zhong. Go. Situ Zhong nodded at Situ Ming and said through voice transmission. At this point, you don't have a choice. King Qian isn't a merciful person. Situ Ming secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. He knew very well that he had no other choice. If he offended King Qian, he would be in deep trouble. Although the prince whom the Situ clan supported was not inferior to King Qian in any aspect, he might not necessarily fall out with King Qian just to protect him. My lord, I'll go with you. In the end, Situ Ming gave in. Let's go. The middle-aged man said nonchalantly. Although he was only at the imminent saint stage since he was working for King Qian, he was not afraid at all even if he was facing a saint stage powerhouse like Situ Ming. A fox borrowing the tiger's might, a dog relying on its master's power, nothing more than this. Situ Ming followed the middle-aged man and left the Situ clan's estate. They went straight to the Windfall Nation's imperial palace and King Qian's estate. When Situ Ming entered King Qian's estate, a figure hiding in the dark outside King Qian's estate turned around and left as well. He went to another spacious mansion in the Windfall Nation's imperial palace. It was the mansion of King Rong, the 2nd Imperial Highness of the Windfall Nation's imperial family. Situ Ming from Situ clan went to Old Fort's place? King Rong was an elegant middle-aged man with a medium build who was dressed like a scholar. When he heard the report from the informant he had planted near King Qian's estate, he could not help but frown. Are you sure you're not mistaken? A young man dressed in black behind King Rong asked indifferently as he looked at the informant. The young man's appearance was ordinary, but his eyes were extremely sharp. When he looked at the informant, it seemed as though there were two piercing rays in his eyes, causing the informant to feel shocked. He did not dare to look him in the eye. "I'm sure I'm not mistaken." The informant took a deep breath before he mustered up his courage and replied. "You, make a trip to Situ clan and ask Situ how what's going on. Tell the Situ clan to give King Rong a satisfactory explanation within 3 days," the young man replied. The young man nodded. "Yes." The informant left and made his way to the Situ clan. When the clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao, learned about this, horror dawned on his face. Situ Ming openly went to King Qian's estate? What's he trying to do? Clan leader of Situ clan, I've already passed the message to you. Please give the Second Imperial Highness a satisfactory explanation within 3 days. The informant from King Rong's estate was extremely humble in King Rong's estate, but he was extremely domineering in the Situ clan. In King Rong's estate he was merely a lackey. However, in the Situ clan he was a messenger from King Rong's estate. After the informant from King Rong's estate left, Situ Hao's expression was still extremely grave. His brows were tightly knitted together. At this moment, Situ Ming finally met the fourth prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family, King Qian, in King Qian's estate. Situ Ming greets Your Highness King Qian. Situ Ming bowed at King Qian. There's no need for formalities, Second Master Ming. Please take a seat, King Qian said with a smile as he gestured for Situ Ming to sit. However, Situ Ming did not dare to sit. What? Are you not going to give me face, Second Master Ming? The smile on King Qian's face faded slightly as he asked with a solemn expression. No. Situ Ming was shocked and immediately sat down. However, he felt as though he was sitting on pins and needles, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. Second Master Ming, I heard you're not happy in the Situ clan? King Qian asked with a smile as he looked at Situ Ming. You must be joking, Your Highness King Qian. As the second master of Situ clan, how could I not be happy in the Situ clan? Situ Ming forced a smile. Even if he was unhappy in the Situ clan, he would not say it out loud, let alone in front of King Qian. This was because, to a certain extent, the Situ clan and King Qian were on opposite sides. It seems like Second Master Ming still has some reservations about me. King Qian shook his head before he raised his hands and clapped them. At this moment, a person walked into the main hall. It was someone Situ Ming was extremely familiar with. When Situ Ming saw the person, he instantly stood up. His eyes gleamed coldly as he asked through voice transmission. Yifeng, why are you here? Don't you know our Situ clan and King Qian's estate are on opposite sides? Second Master, naturally, I know the Situ clan and King Qian's estate are on opposite sides. Yifeng did not reply through voice transmission. Situ Ming's expression turned grave immediately as he asked through voice transmission again. Yifeng, what are you trying to do? Second Master, I'm not trying to do anything. I just want you to understand the current situation. The Situ clan no longer has room for you. What you need to do now is to leave the Situ clan with your men and seek refuge with the Fourth Imperial Highness. Chapter 1623. Before Situ Ming came here, he had thought of many possibilities. He had even thought that King Qian's estate might have annihilated the Dark Nether sect and captured Yifeng, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect. However, it seemed like that was not the case now. He did not expect Yifeng to betray him and even become King Qian's messenger to ask him to lead his men to betray Situ clan and join King Qian's side. Imperial Highness King Qian, if this is the only reason you asked me to come here, I'm afraid I can't stay here any longer. Situ Ming took a deep breath and glared at Yifeng before he looked at King Qian and said bluntly. What a joke. He had been working hard all his life to become the leader of Situ clan. Although he had lost to Situ Hao, he did not give up. He wanted his son to replace Situ Hao's son and become the next clan leader of Situ clan. In the future, he would also become the retired emperor of Situ clan. If he betrayed Situ clan, he would become a traitor of Situ clan. It would be impossible for him to become the leader of Situ clan. If he chose to betray Situ clan, it would mean he would be overturning all his efforts in the past. Naturally, he was unwilling to make such a choice. After Situ Ming finished speaking, he turned around to leave. However, as soon as he turned around, he was stopped by two old men who appeared behind King Qian. Imperial Highness King Qian, what's the meaning of this? Situ Ming's expression turned grave. When he looked at King Qian again, his eyes were filled with rage. Second Master Ming, if you want to leave, you should listen to what Yifeng has to say before leaving. If you still insist on keeping your memory in the Situ clan after Yifeng has finished speaking, I won't stop you anymore. King Qian said. Upon hearing this, Situ Ming glanced at Yifeng indifferently. If you have something to say, just say it. You want me to betray Situ clan? Do you think you're worthy? Second Master Ming, you shouldn't speak too soon. Yifeng was not angered by Situ Ming's disdain. Instead, he said indifferently, actually, the reason I asked you to join King Qian is to save your life. If you insist on being stubborn, there's nothing I can do about it. Save my life? What do you mean by that? Situ Ming's expression turned grave. Second Master Ming, do you know why I'm in King Qian's estate? Yifeng asked. When Yifeng saw that Situ Ming did not answer him and continued to stare at him, he continued to say, the reason I came to King Qian's estate is because I don't want to die. Do you know how difficult it was for me to escape from the Dark Nether sect? The force behind Duanling Tian is terrifyingly powerful. Even the Supreme Elder of our Dark Nether sect died because of him. I chose to leave the Dark Nether sect because I was afraid of him. Yifeng continued. When Yifeng saw the disbelief on Situ Ming's face, he immediately swore on the lightning penalty oath. If the Supreme Elder of my Dark Nether sect didn't die because of Duanling Tian, and if I didn't flee the Dark Nether sect out of fear of Duanling Tian, I'm willing to be killed by the 99 heavenly tribulation. As a drop of Yifeng's blood rose into the air, 9 claps of thunder came from the horizon, bearing witness to Yifeng's oath. After he swore on the lightning penalty oath, Yifeng remained unscathed. He was not killed by the lightning penalty. This was enough to prove that he was not lying. The instant Yifeng swore on the lightning penalty oath, Situ Ming could no longer maintain his composure. Horror dawned on him immediately. There's such a powerful force behind Duanling Tian? Is it the Drift Blaze sect? It has nothing to do with the Drift Blaze sect. Yifeng said, I don't know where that force comes from as well. However, its strength is definitely not inferior to the Situ clan. It's not the Drift Blaze sect. Situ Ming was not surprised when he heard that the force behind Duanling Tian was not the Drift Blaze sect. However, this made him even more afraid. The unknown was the most terrifying. The force behind Duanling Tian was so mysterious. Perhaps he would not be able to react in time if it turned against him. To be able to kill the Dark Nether sect's Supreme Elder and force Yifeng to abandon the entire Dark Nether sect and flee. The force behind Duanling Tian is definitely not something Elder Zhong and I can fight against. Various expressions appeared on Situ Ming's face. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. How did Situ Hao manage to find someone like Duanling Tian? Don't tell me I'm destined to lose to him? My son is destined to lose to his son? No. I refuse to accept this. I refuse to accept this. Situ Ming roared in his heart, roaring crazily. However, he knew it was useless no matter how unwilling he was. This was because the outcome had already been decided. Just as Yifeng had said, if he continued to stay in the Situ clan, he might be killed at any time. Once the force behind Duanling Tian joined forces with Situ Hao's faction, his faction would not be able to fight back at all. Imperial Highness King Qian, Situ Ming is willing to serve you. Soon after, Situ Ming made up his mind and bowed at King Qian. At this moment he no longer had a choice. Second Master Ming, if you want to serve Imperial Highness King Qian, you'll have to show some sincerity. Yifeng smiled. What sincerity? Situ Ming's expression turned grave. In the past, would Yifeng dare to be so presumptuous in front of him? Naturally, you'll have to swear on the lightning penalty oath. Yifeng continued to say. Situ Ming's expression turned grave. However, when he saw King Qian looking at him and waiting for him to make a decision, he could only swear on the lightning penalty oath to serve King Qian. If he betrayed King Qian, he would be killed by the lightning penalty. Imperial Highness King Qian, I suggest that my subordinates and I continue to hide in the Situ clan. Perhaps I'll be able to seize control of the Situ clan in the future and become the true master of the Situ clan. Situ Ming suggested. Even at this moment he still did not forget about the Situ clan. He took the initiative to suggest to King Qian that he should continue to stay in the Situ clan. Naturally, he had his own reasons for suggesting this. He did not want to be branded as a traitor to the Situ clan. Once he betrayed the clan, it would mean he no longer had anything to do with the Situ clan. Moreover, his subordinates might not be willing to follow him. Perhaps these people would support him when he was in the Situ clan. However, if he chose to betray the clan, they might not continue to follow him. There's no need for that. However, King Qian rejected Situ Ming's suggestion. With Duanling Tian around, It's impossible for you to defeat Situ Hao. Situ Ming was rendered speechless by King Qian's words. He really wanted to say, "Can't I have you as my backer?" However, he did not say it out loud in the end. He could tell King Qian wanted him to betray the Situ clan. He could more or less guess King Qian's intention. King Qian wanted to use him to betray the Situ clan to disgust his strongest opponent, the second prince, King Rong. "I'll give you 1 day to bring your men and leave the Situ clan and come to my estate," King Qian said as he looked at the 2 old men blocking Situ Ming's path. As King Qian spoke, he looked at the 2 old men who were blocking Situ Ming's path. "Both of you follow Second Master Ming. If he's alone, I'm afraid he won't be able to leave even if he enters the Situ clan." After Situ Ming and the 2 old men left, only King Qian and Yi Feng were left in the main hall. "You're very smart. You didn't expose the Devil Seal tablet." King Qian looked at Yi Feng with admiration. He was very satisfied with Yi Feng's wit earlier. The fewer people who know about the Devil Seal tablet, the better. Yi Feng smiled with his eyes narrowed. In the following day, the Situ clan was turned upside down. All of this was due to the departure of Situ Ming, the second master of Situ clan. To be more precise, he had betrayed the clan. Situ Ming, the second master of Situ clan, brought his son, the supreme elder of Situ clan, Situ Zhong, and a few other Situ clan's elders along with the 2 powerhouses from King Qian's estate as they left the Situ clan and headed to King Qian's estate. When this matter spread out, it stirred up a storm in the peaceful Situ clan. In the main hall of the Situ clan's estate, a few Situ clan's elders who were on Situ Ming's side in the past were kneeling on the ground in front of Situ Hao, the clan leader of Situ clan. "Clan leader, I was blind in the past. I didn't expect Situ Ming would betray the Situ clan. I'm willing to swear on the lightning penalty oath that I'll only be loyal to you and your descendants for the rest of my life." One of the Situ clan's elders took the lead and bowed. The moment his words left his mouth, he swore on the lightning penalty oath. 9 claps of thunder reverberated in the sky. The remaining Situ clan's elders followed suit. If it was in the past, Situ Hao would have been very happy that so many elders who were on the opposite side of him had decided to side with him. However, his expression was extremely grave at this moment. Ever since he found out Situ Ming and Situ Zhong had betrayed the Situ clan, his expression had not changed at all. "Elders, the fact that all of you didn't leave with Situ Ming is enough to prove your loyalty to the clan. I won't pursue the matter in the past. I hope all of you will serve the clan well in the future," Situ Hao said to the few Situ clan's elders before him. "Thank you, clan leader." The few Situ clan's elders quickly expressed their gratitude. Situ Ming betrayed the Situ clan? Duan Lingtian had learned about this from the great young master of Situ clan, Situ Hang. He was also shocked by this news. Where did he go after he betrayed the Situ clan? King Qian's estate. Situ Hang said with a grave expression. "In the past, I thought Situ Ming was just vying with my father for the leadership of the clan. I didn't expect he would betray the clan. Now that he has left, our Situ clan has lost 2 saint stage powerhouses in one go." "Does your Situ clan's old ancestor know about this?" Duan Lingtian asked. "My father must have gone to inform the old ancestor now. The old ancestor will definitely be furious when he finds out about this. However, Situ Ming has already brought his men and pledged allegiance to King Qian's estate. No matter how furious the old ancestor is, there's nothing he can do." When Situ Hang reached the end of his sentence, he felt helpless. Duan Lingtian had been in the capital of Windfall Nation for a long time. Naturally, he knew what King Qian's estate meant. "Mr. Duan, someone passed a message to you at the entrance just now. He asked me to pass it to you." Chapter 16:24. As Duan Lingtian responded, a person walked in from outside. This person was none other than one of the guards on duty at the entrance of Situ clan. "What did he say?" Duan Lingtian asked. "He said a person called Yi Feng asked you to visit King Qian's estate when you're free so that you can catch up." The Situ clan guard replied. "Yi Feng?" Upon hearing the guard's words, Situ Hang frowned. "Don't tell me it's the sect leader of Dark Nether sect? I remember the sect leader of Dark Nether sect is called Yi Feng." Duan Lingtian's expression changed drastically. Yi Feng. He had finally appeared. Moreover, he was in King Qian's estate. That Yi Feng used to be the sect leader of Dark Nether sect. He's on Situ Ming's side. The Situ clan supports the second prince, King Rong. As for the fourth prince, King Qian, he's King Rong's strongest opponent. Duan Lingtian's heart sank. That Yi Feng must have given something in order to stay in King Qian's estate. He must have given something because he knows I have the Devil Seal tablet. The moment Duan Lingtian thought of this, killing intent rose in his eyes. If he could, he would kill Yi Feng and all the people who had learned of his possession of the demon sealing tombstone. Because this news would bring him a fatal calamity. King Qian's estate. King Qian? That King Qian must have found out I have the Devil Seal tablet. Duan Lingtian frowned. He was not afraid of King Qian at all. However, as the prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family, King Qian was guarded by many Saint Stage powerhouses. Most of those Saint Stage powerhouses were not devil cultivators. It would not be easy for him to kill King Qian. However, even if King Qian knows I have the Devil Seal tablet, he definitely won't spread the news. Humans are greedy. He must want to take the Devil Seal tablet for himself. Duan Lingtian was certain of this. To be honest, when Yi Feng escaped from him at the Dark Nether Sect's estate, he had thought of leaving Windfall Nation to lie low for a while. Because once the news of him possessing the Devil Seal tablet spread, he would be in great danger. However, before that he had to make arrangements for Bai Li Hong and the others. However, now that he knew Yi Feng was in King Qian's estate, he was no longer in a hurry to leave. If it's just King Qian, I don't really have to leave Windfall Nation. When I break through to the Saint Stage, I won't be afraid of those Saint Stage powerhouses by King Qian's side. Duan Lingtian was very confident about this. Not to mention his strong foundation. When he broke through to the Saint Realm, he would be able to transform the true Qi in his body into true Sun origin. According to Hua Lao, the benefits that Hua Lao had given him last time could only be fully realized after he had broken through to the Saint Realm. According to Hua Lao, with just the Sun origin alone, it would be easy for him to defeat an opponent who was one stage higher than him. Coupled with his strong body, powerful 10,000 swords territory, and the supreme sword Dao mental cultivation method, the sovereign heart sword, that sword Saint Feng Qingyang had given him, he believed there would not be many Saint Stage powerhouses in Windfall Nation who would be able to defeat him after he had broken through to the Saint Stage. At that time he would not care about King Qian's estate at all. At that time I'll be able to kill all of them. The moment Duan Lingtian thought of this, he bade farewell to Situ Hang and hastily returned to his room. After returning to his room, he entered the third level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and cultivated diligently to break through to the Saint Stage as soon as possible. Naturally, before he could break through to the Saint Stage, Duan Lingtian's cultivation base would have to reach the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment Stage and the imminent Saint Stage first. However, based on his current progress, Duan Lingtian was confident he would be able to break through to the peak of the Paramount Saint Rudiment Stage in half a month. Naturally, half a month was referring to the time outside. Yi Feng is actually in King Qian's estate. This means Situ Ming's betrayal must have something to do with Yi Feng as well. After Duan Lingtian returned to his room, Yi Feng also thought of this. Whether it was Yi Feng or Duan Lingtian himself, they did not realize a great crisis was brewing rapidly. It was about to engulf Duan Lingtian at any time. The Devil Seal tablet was enough for many people to resort to all means. While the undercurrent was surging in the capital of Windfall Nation, in a faraway place at the Mountain Shade Black Market's headquarters, a supreme order from the Mountain Shade Black Market's leader was quickly passed down. A painting, a young man, and a name. Lord Leader has ordered us to find the young man in the painting at all costs. This young man's name is Duan Lingtian. This was the order passed down from the messenger of the Mountain Shade Black Market's headquarters to the lower branches. The lower branches of the Mountain Shade Black Market's headquarters were located in the districts of some ordinary fourth-rate forces. Below them, there were also lower branches in the districts of fifth-rate forces. The Mountain Shade Black Market's branch in Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion was one of the lower branches. This branch had also received the order from the upper branch. Along with the order was a very clear painting of a handsome young man with dashing eyebrows and bright eyes. His name was Duan Lingtian. Passed down this order to all the branches. There were branches one level lower than the Mountain Shade Black Market's branch in Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. These branches included the Mountain Shade Black Market's branch in Windfall Nation. A few months later, the Mountain Shade Black Market's branch in Windfall Nation also received the order from the upper branch, the Mountain Shade Black Market's branch in Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. Apart from that, they also received a painting and the name of the young man in the painting. Duan Lingtian? This name sounds familiar. The leader of the Mountain Shade Black Market's branch in Windfall Nation, a gray-clad old man with white hair, was standing in front of a pavilion on the mountainside of a steep mountain. He was looking at the painting in his hand as he muttered to himself. Lord Leader, I've heard of this name before. While the gray-clothed old man was muttering to himself, a voice came from behind him. It was a middle-aged man standing outside the pavilion. He promptly responded to the gray-clothed old man. Oh. The gray-clad old man's eyes lit up. He immediately turned around and looked at his most capable subordinate. Lord Leader, you must have heard of this name before. However, you didn't pay much attention to it when you heard of it. The middle-aged man said, a few months ago, the young man who defeated Drift Blaze Sect's Lady Feng is the interim advisor of the Situ clan in the capital. His full name is Duan Ling Tian. Currently, he's widely acknowledged as the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. Now that you mention it, I remember now. The gray-clad old man nodded. At the same time, he looked at the painting in his hand and said, I wonder if he has the same name as the person in the painting. They're the same person. Chapter 1625. The gray-clad old man was the leader of the Mountain Shade Black Markets branch in Windfall Nation. He knew very well what the heavy painting in his hand meant. This painting was sent directly from the Mountain Shade Black Market's headquarters. Any branch that could find the person in the painting would be rewarded handsomely. If they could bring the person in the painting back to the Mountain Shade Black Market's headquarters, the leader of that branch would even have a chance to follow the supreme leader of the Mountain Shade Black Market's headquarters for 10 years. The latter was enough to make anyone go crazy. The supreme leader of the Mountain Shade Black Market's headquarters was the leader with the highest position in the Mountain Shade Black Market. At the same time, he was also a top powerhouse in the Debussy Subterranean. To be able to follow such an expert for 10 years and listen to his instructions was undoubtedly a dream come true. For this reason, when the old man heard the name of the young man who had caused a commotion in Windfall Nation a few months ago was Duan Ling Tian, he could not help but feel excited. Jing Yuan, make a trip to the capital of Windfall Nation and meet the interim advisor of Situ clan in the Situ clan. See if he's the person in the painting. Hong Zhen, the leader of the Mountain Shade Black Markets branch in Windfall Nation, raised his hand and passed the painting in his hand to the middle-aged man. Make a copy of this before you depart. Yes, Lord Leader. Jing Yuan nodded solemnly before he took the painting and left. If Duan Ling Tian was here and saw the painting in Hong Zhen's hand, he would be shocked to discover that the person in the painting was him. Moreover, the painting was extremely lifelike. In King Qian's estate in the capital of Windfall Nation. King Qian, if Duan Ling Tian still refuses to come out in 10 days, I'll have no choice but to return to the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion. I can only suppress my cultivation base for another month at most. In the main hall of King Qian's estate, a white-clad young man glanced at King Qian, the fourth prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family. Based on his words, it seemed as though he did not treat the other party as a prince at all. A hint of anger flashed in the depth of King Qian's eyes, but he did not flare up. Instead, he forced a smile as he replied, Don't worry, Mr. Lin. Within 10 days, I guarantee that Duan Ling Tian will have to come out even if he doesn't want to. You're the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking, and it's his blessing that you came all the way from the distant Southern Ridge Yuan mansion to challenge him. He really doesn't know what's good for him by running away like this. There's no need for you to flatter me. I'm only here for the reward you promised me. If he doesn't show up within 10 days, I'll leave. As for the deposit, I will not return it. The white-clothed young man said indifferently. He didn't seem to be considerate at all. Of course. Although the white-clad young man was not understanding, King Qian did not dare to vent his anger. Not only was this white-clad young man ranked first on the heaven ranking in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion's district, but he was also a disciple from a powerful sixth-rate clan in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. That clan was so powerful that it was not inferior to the Windfall Nation's imperial family. Moreover, the white-clad young man was a lineal disciple of that clan. 2 months ago, he had invited the strongest person on the heaven ranking from the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion's Lin clan to Windfall Nation to kill Duan Ling Tian and seize the Duan Ling Tian spatial ring. To be more precise, he wanted to seize the Devil Seal tablet in Duan Ling Tian's hands. Naturally, he did not tell this white-clad young man Lin Dong about the Devil Seal tablet. He only wanted the items in Duan Ling Tian's spatial ring that were of great significance to him. The deal between him and Lin Dong was that Lin Dong would seize Duan Ling Tian's spatial ring and hand it to him after he killed Duan Ling Tian. He would also pay another reward for it. In order to invite Lin Dong, he had gritted his teeth and paid a huge price. However, when he thought about how he could obtain the Devil Seal tablet, he felt that everything was worth it. Farewell. The white-clad young man, Lin Dong, snorted coldly before he turned around and left. He was arrogant. It was obvious he did not take King Qian seriously at all. King Qian's expression turned grave as he looked at Lin Dong's departing figure. Fourth Imperial Highness, Lin Dong is too arrogant. You're the fourth prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family. You're going to inherit the Windfall Nation's imperial family's throne in the future, and yet, he dares to treat you like this. Yi Feng, who had been standing at the side and had not spoken a word since the beginning, spoke. Humph. Other people might be afraid of me because I'm the fourth prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family, but Lin Dong doesn't have to be afraid. The Lin clan he's from isn't any weaker than our Windfall Nation. King Qian snorted, causing Yi Feng to feel awkward. Yi Feng, what's your plan? It's already been 2 months, but there's still no news from the Situ clan. Soon after, King Qian stared at Yi Feng coldly. Fourth Imperial Highness, I've really tried my best during these 2 months. Right now, there's a rumor going around that the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, is afraid of Lin Dong, the strongest person on the heaven ranking from the southern Ridgyuan mansion. However, there's nothing I can do if he doesn't show himself. Yi Feng smiled wryly. Since there's nothing you can do, you don't have to worry about this anymore, King Qian said indifferently. Yi Feng immediately felt relieved. Hearing this, Yi Feng heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, he had long wanted to give up on this task. It was obvious the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, did not dare to accept the challenge. Otherwise he would have shown himself a long time ago. The people in the capital of Windfall Nation realized the topic on the streets had changed in just a few days. As it turned out, in the past 2 months, the hottest topic on the streets was that Lin Dong, the strongest person on the heaven ranking from the southern Ridgyuan mansion, had come to Windfall Nation to challenge the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian. However, Duan Lingtian refused to accept the challenge. Naturally, the news from the Situ clan was that Duan Lingtian was in closed-door cultivation. However, most people did not believe this. Most of them thought Duan Lingtian was afraid of Lin Dong and did not dare to accept the challenge. Although the topic these few days was still about Duan Lingtian and Lin Dong, more people began to mention that Lin Dong was an honored guest of King Qian's estate. King Qian's estate. If this name did not have anything to do with the Situ clan, it would not be a big deal. However, now that it had something to do with the Situ clan, many people's imaginations began to run wild. After all, everyone knew that the Situ clan was close to King Rong's estate. In the face of a challenge from an honored guest of King Qian's estate, the interim advisor of Situ clan under King Rong's estate actually refused to accept the challenge. To a certain extent, did this mean that King Rong's estate was inferior to King Qian's estate? Soon after, similar discussions began to spread like wildfire under the influence of people with ulterior motives. King Rong's estate could no longer sit still and began to exert pressure on the Situ clan. In the Situ clan, Situ Hao, who had just sent the people from King Rong's estate away, had a frown on his face. In the end, he still went to the courtyard where his son, Situ Hang, was staying. Hang, is Master Duan still not showing any signs of coming out of closed-door cultivation? Situ Hao asked Situ Hang. What's wrong, father? Are you still bothered by the rumors that are spreading? Actually, you don't have to worry about it. Master Duan doesn't care about those rumors. Situ Hang smiled. The situation is different now. Situ Hao smiled wryly. Then he told Situ Hang about the people from King Rong's estate. Apart from that, he also told Situ Hang about the rumors that had been spreading in the nation recently. Everyone was saying that King Rong's estate was inferior to King Qian's estate. Up until now, Duan Lingtian did not have any direct contact with King Rong's estate. However, since he was the interim advisor of Situ clan, and Situ clan was a force that relied on King Rong's estate, he was more or less related to King Rong's estate. Therefore, he was labeled as a member of King Rong's estate. As for Lin Dong, as an honored guest of King Qian's estate, he was also labeled as a member of King Qian's estate. What's the person from King Qian's estate trying to do? Situ Hang's expression was extremely grave. I keep having a feeling that something's not right. Initially, I thought Lin Dong wanted to compete with Master Duan because he heard about Master Duan's reputation. However, it seems like things aren't that simple. I'm afraid King Qian's estate must have something to do with this. Situ Hao hit the nail on the head. Father, do you mean King Qian's estate might have sent Lin Dong to attack King Rong's estate? Situ Hang's eyes narrowed. That's very likely. Situ Hao nodded. Unfortunately, Master Duan hasn't come out of closed-door cultivation yet. It seems like more than 3 months have passed since Master Duan went into closed-door cultivation, right? Yes, it has been more than 3 months. Situ Hang nodded. King Rong's estate can no longer sit still. King Rong's men have given me 2 options under his orders. Situ Hao sighed. What options? Situ Hang frowned. King Rong, if Master Duan is really in closed-door cultivation, you must think of a way to get him to come out of closed-door cultivation. Ask him if he's confident in fighting Lin Dong. If he's not confident, withdraw. Situ Hao said. How do we withdraw? Situ Hang's frown deepened. Ask Master Duan to publicly announce that he's leaving the Situ clan and has nothing to do with us from now on. Situ Hao sighed. How can we do that? Situ Hang's expression changed drastically. Master Duan is my savior. How can we let him do that? Father, I don't agree to that. No. There's a second option. Father, what's the second option that King Rong gave you? Situ Hang seemed to have grasped at straws. The second option is based on the fact that Master Duan isn't in closed-door cultivation. The second option is to withdraw. Situ Hao heaved a long sigh. What's your decision, clan leader Situ? At this moment, the sound of a door opening rang in the air. A purple figure walked out of one of the rooms in the courtyard and bathed in the sunlight. The purple figure was a purple-clad young man. He had dashing eyebrows and bright eyes. He was extraordinarily handsome. Master Duan. Situ Hang's eyes lit up when he saw the purple-clad young man. He immediately went up to him. Master Duan. Situ Hao smiled wryly. Naturally, he knew Master Duan had heard everything he said. He felt slightly awkward. Chapter 1626. Naturally, the 3 months here referred to the 3 months in the outside world. A total of 15 months had passed in the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. In other words, it was 1 year and 3 months. Clan leader Situ immediately asked someone to announce to the public that from today onward I, Duan Lingtian, am no longer the interim advisor of Situ clan. Duan Lingtian said to Situ Hao. Master Duan, you don't have to do this. Situ Hang's expression changed drastically. He did not expect Duan Lingtian would make such a decision. Master Duan, perhaps as the clan leader of Situ clan, I hope that you'll leave the Situ clan. However, as a father, I can't ask you to leave the Situ clan no matter what. After all, you saved my son's life. Situ Hao said solemnly as he looked at Duan Lingtian. Situ Hang was his only son. Master Duan, you don't have to make a decision in such a hurry. Let's think of another way. Perhaps, there's a better way that doesn't require you to leave the Situ clan. When Situ Hao reached the end of his sentence, he also spoke to Duan Lingtian. Upon hearing Situ Zhua's words, Duan Lingtian, who was originally calm, smiled. Master Duan, you. Situ Hao and his son were confused when they saw the smile on Duan Lingtian's face. They did not know why Duan Lingtian was smiling. Clan leader Situ, it's already rare for you to say something like this. Duan Lingtian said, as for my decision, it won't change. Naturally, my decision has nothing to do with you and young Master Hang. I don't plan to stay in Windfall Nation for long anyway. It's only a matter of time before I leave. Naturally, although I've left the Situ clan and am no longer the interim advisor of Situ clan, I'll still be staying in the Situ clan for a period of time in the future. After some time, I'll officially leave the Situ clan and Windfall Nation. Duan Lingtian continued to speak. Now that he had settled down Feng Wu Dao and the others in Windfall Nation, there was nothing that he was worried about. What he had to do was to find the power behind Xuan'ai as soon as possible and look for his fiancée, Li Fei. It had been quite some time since he arrived at the capital of Windfall Nation, and he had also obtained quite a lot of useful information. Initially, he had determined that the force behind Han Xuan'ai was the Greenwave Han Mansion. His next step was to head to the Greenwave Han Mansion. Situ Hao and Situ Hang fell silent when they heard Duan Lingtian's words. They knew that Duan Lingtian would leave one day, but they didn't expect it to be so soon. Master Duan, even if you want to leave, there's no need for you to leave the Situ clan. Situ Hang insisted. Young Master Hang, I've already made up my mind. You don't have to persuade me. Duan Lingtian smiled. Based on his words, it was as though he had already seen through the mundane world. However, before I announce that I'm leaving the Situ clan and am no longer the interim advisor of Situ clan, I hope that clan leader Situ can help me make another announcement. I, Duan Lingtian, will personally accept the challenge from the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. As for the date, it's up to him to decide. Duan Lingtian looked at Situ Hao and said something that stunned Situ Hao and Situ Hang. Master Duan was actually going to accept the challenge from the powerhouse from the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion? They could not help but be stunned. Previously, when they heard Duan Lingtian had decided to leave the Situ clan, they naturally thought Duan Lingtian did not dare to accept the challenge from the powerhouse. However, it seemed like that was not the case. Master Duan, why you're confident? Situ Hao asked in a daze. Why would I accept the challenge if I'm not confident? Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. Even before he went into closed-door cultivation, he was not afraid of the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking, let alone the current him. Master Duan, since you're confident, there's no need for you to leave the Situ clan, Situ Hao said. Master Duan. Situ family head, please help me spread the news first. Duan Lingtian changed the topic. It was obvious he did not want to change his mind. When Situ Hao saw Duan Lingtian had made up his mind, he sighed inwardly. However, he did not insist on it since he could tell it would be useless even if he insisted. It was obvious Master Duan was not the kind of person who would change his mind. In the capital of Windfall Nation, the topic that had been buzzing in recent days had just changed when another piece of shocking news came. It caused the entire capital of Windfall Nation to be in an uproar. News came from the Situ clan. The interim advisor of Situ clan, Master Duan, had announced his departure from the Situ clan. From today onward, he was no longer a member of the Situ clan. Master Duan actually announced his departure from the Situ clan? It seems like he's really not in closed-door cultivation. Is he afraid of the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the southern Ridgyuan mansion? Isn't it obvious? If he's not afraid, why would he make such a decision? In fact, recently, many people have been saying King Rong's estate is not as good as King Qian's estate because of him. Since Duan Lingtian has left the Situ clan, he won't have anything to do with King Rong's estate anymore. At that time, nobody will say King Rong's estate is not as good as King Qian's estate anymore. It seems like Duan Lingtian is really afraid of the powerhouse from the southern Ridgyuan mansion in the past 2 months. That's why he's holed up like a turtle. To think I took him as my idol and thought he's really in closed-door cultivation. You're too naive. Similar discussions could be heard everywhere in the capital of Windfall Nation. All of this was because Duan Lingtian had announced his departure from the Situ clan. Almost everyone thought Duan Lingtian did not dare to accept the challenge from the powerhouse from the southern Ridgyuan mansion. Even the people in King Qian's estate were no exception. He actually announced his departure from the Situ clan? King Qian was stunned when he heard the news. At the same time, he looked at the middle-aged man who was sweating profusely. Situ Ming, is this your plan? The middle-aged man was none other than Situ Ming, the former second master of Situ clan. A few days ago, King Qian had told Yi Feng to stay out of this matter. Then he went to look for Situ Ming and asked him if he had any way to force Duan Lingtian to make a move. Situ Ming also swore that he would definitely force Duan Lingtian to make a move. In fact, he was the one who secretly pushed for the change in the capital of Windfall Nation. There was only one reason he did this, and that was to put pressure on King Rong's estate. King Rong's estate would naturally put pressure on the Situ clan. In his opinion, it would be difficult for Duan Lingtian to not make a move at that time. However, it did not cross his mind that after waiting for a few days, he would receive news that Duan Lingtian was leaving the Situ clan. This was completely different from what he had imagined. In his impression, Duan Lingtian was an arrogant young man. Under such circumstances, it was impossible for him to avoid the challenge. However, it seemed like he was wrong. Yi Feng stood on the other side as he looked at Situ Ming with a hint of mockery in his eyes. He had already guessed Situ Ming's intention when the discussion in the capital of Windfall Nation changed. For a moment he was extremely displeased. He was displeased because he thought Situ Ming's plan would work. However, now that it had been proven that Situ Ming's plan was useless, he was secretly pleased. Who asked you to fight for credit? Now, you know you can't simply come up with a plan, right? Situ Ming, do you have nothing else to say? King Qian's expression turned even more grave when he saw Situ Ming standing there in a daze without any response. Imperial Highness King Qian, I didn't expect this as well. Situ Ming took a deep breath and smiled wryly. However, before he could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by a voice that resonated from outside. Fourth Imperial Highness, good news. Good news. A middle-aged man barged in without permission. Don't you know the rules? King Qian's expression that was already grave turned even gloomier. Please forgive me, Fourth Imperial Highness. However, this news is really urgent. Fourth Imperial Highness, the Situ clan has released another piece of news. They said that Duan Lingtian will accept Master Lin's challenge after he announced his departure from the Situ clan. The middle-aged man hurriedly said. What? Upon hearing this, King Qian was stunned. The gloomy expression on his face disappeared as his eyes shone brightly like the stars in the night sky. He accepted the challenge? As for Situ Ming, who was originally still dripping with cold sweat, after hearing the words of the middle-aged man who barged in, his eyes lit up and his face revealed an expression of ecstasy. This news really came at the right time. At this moment, both King Qian and Situ Ming were overjoyed. If there was anyone present who was unhappy, it would be Yi Feng. Damn it! Duan Lingtian actually accepted the challenge. What the hell was he doing earlier? Yi Feng's expression was extremely grave. However, nobody was paying attention to his expression at this moment. Quick! Go and get Master Lin. King Qian said to the middle-aged man anxiously. Yes. The middle-aged man responded and left. At the same time, this news had also spread in the capital of Windfall Nation. For a moment, this even more shocking news completely suppressed the previous heavy news. After Master Duan announced his departure from the Situ clan, he's going to accept the challenge from the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion? Many people's eyes lit up with anticipation. I told you my idol won't back out before the battle. Why do I remember you were still spitting on Master Duan this morning? Why did you suddenly change your mind? Tui? Don't accuse me wrongly. I didn't say that. I'm sure you said that. Do you dare to swear on the lightning penalty oath? Similar discussions were happening everywhere in the capital of Windfall Nation. Duan Lingtian's reputation that had plummeted suddenly rose from hell to heaven. He was praised everywhere in the capital of Windfall Nation. At the same time, the Situ clan was being criticized instead. It must be the Situ clan who forced Master Duan to leave. I'd like to see the expression on the Situ clan's people's faces if Master Duan wins this battle. Situ clan? Ungrateful *****. Have they forgotten how Master Duan pulled their great young master back from the gates of hell? Chapter 1627. The entire Windfall Nation's capital was in an uproar because of Duan Lingtian's challenge to Lin Dong. The topics that were originally scattered were now gathered together. The moment news of this battle spread, it was destined to be the center of attention. Although Lin Dong was not from Windfall Nation, the people in Windfall Nation had long heard of his name. They knew he was the strongest person on the heaven ranking in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. Not only that, but he was also a direct descendant of a powerful sixth-rate clan in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. Lin Dong was also known as the strongest person below the Saint stage in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. This honor made Lin Dong publicly acknowledged as the strongest person on the Saint Rudiment stage in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. Although Duan Lingtian had only become famous in Windfall Nation a few months ago, his strength was also publicly acknowledged by the people in Windfall Nation. This was because he had defeated Drift Blaze Sect's Lady Feng. Before Duan Lingtian appeared, Lady Feng was publicly acknowledged as the strongest person among the younger generation in Windfall Nation. When she was defeated by Duan Lingtian, the people in Windfall Nation had already concluded that Lady Feng possessed the strength to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking. However, Duan Lingtian was able to defeat her. In the opinion of the people in Windfall Nation, if Duan Lingtian had the intention to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking, it would not be a problem at all. Especially when they heard Lin Dong, the strongest person on the heaven ranking, had come to Windfall Nation to challenge Duan Lingtian, they realized Duan Lingtian was not a simple person. Who was Lin Dong? He was the strongest person on the heaven ranking. Perhaps, Duan Lingtian had the strength to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking, but he was only ranked 23rd on the heaven ranking. The strongest person on the heaven ranking was challenging the person who was ranked 23rd. This was the first time such a thing had happened in the history of Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. I wonder when the battle between Master Duan and the powerhouse from Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion will be held. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope they'll hold this battle in public. If that's the case, I'll be able to watch the battle. That's right. If they hold the battle in the palace, we won't be able to enter. Very soon, many people in the capital of Windfall Nation began to worry about the location of the battle between Duan Lingtian and Lin Dong. After all, it directly affected whether they would be able to watch the battle or not. In the main hall of King Qian's estate. Mr. Lin, that Duan Lingtian is very arrogant. He said that you can decide the time and place. Do you want the location to be in the palace or outside? There won't be many spectators in the Imperial Palace, but if we set it outside, I'm afraid that not only the people in the capital but also the people around the capital will come to watch the show. King Qian asked as he looked at Lin Dong. Of course it's outside. Lin Dong snorted coldly, If he dares to accept the challenge, I will make him lose face in front of everyone. Mr. Lin, our agreement is to kill him. King Qian said with a frown. Don't worry, after I humiliate him and embarrass him, I'll naturally kill him and take his spatial ring for you. Lin Dong said indifferently. Upon hearing Lin Dong's words, King Qian heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time he asked, Mr. Lin, when is the time? Let's set it for tomorrow. After this matter is settled, I still have to return to the southern Ridgyuan mansion, Lin Dong said. King Qian nodded. All right. Then he looked at Situ Ming who was standing below him and said with a smile, Second Master Ming, I'll leave the location of the battle to you. Give me an answer in the afternoon. Yes, Imperial Highness King Qian. Situ Ming quickly replied with a smile on his face. As it turned out, although he had joined King Qian did not put him in an important position. It made him feel as though he was a talent who was unrecognized. However, this time, due to the method he came up with to get the Duan Lingtian to accept Lin Dong's challenge, King Qian began to think highly of him. This made him feel happy from the bottom of his heart. He felt that this was a good start. As for Yi Feng who was standing at the side, his expression was extremely grave. However, when Yi Feng saw King Qian looking at him, his expression changed immediately. It was replaced by a humble expression. Yi Feng, spread the news that Mr. Lin has decided to have a battle with the Duan Lingtian tomorrow. As for the location, you can spread the news after Second Master Ming has made the arrangements in the afternoon. However, when you spread the news, you can announce that the battle tomorrow will be held outside the capital. At that time, everyone can go and watch the battle. King Qian said to Yi Feng. Yes, Fourth Imperial Highness. Although Yi Feng was displeased, King Qian had made him do it. This was an errand that could be done by anyone. However, King Qian had made Situ Ming do it. At this moment, Yi Feng realized his position in King Qian's heart was no longer as important as Situ Ming. I can't let this continue. I must think of a way to change King Qian's impression of me. Damn it. If King Qian didn't force me to swear on the lightning penalty oath that I wouldn't spread the news about the Devil Seal tablet, I wouldn't have to stay here and suffer. At this moment, Yi Feng regretted telling King Qian about the Devil Seal tablet. If I knew this would happen, I would have brought this news to the Southern Ridgyuan Mansion. It's easy for the Southern Ridgyuan Mansion to annihilate the Duan Lingtian. There's no need for them to go through so much trouble. Moreover, King Qian had promised to let me kill the Duan Lingtian with my own hands. However, he went back on his word because of the Devil Seal tablet. Yi Feng was the most displeased about this. Duan Lingtian had used the Devil Seal tablet to kill his Dark Nether Sect's Supreme Elder and forced him to flee. The Dark Nether Sect only existed in name now. This was undoubtedly a great humiliation to him. If he could not kill the Duan Lingtian with his own hands, he would not be able to avenge the Duan Lingtian. However, based on the current situation, he had lost the right to speak. Due to this reason, he regretted bringing the news about the Devil Seal tablet to King Qian's estate. However, since things had already developed to this point, Yi Feng knew it was useless for him to regret. There was no medicine for regret in this world. As Yi Feng obediently spread the news, the entire capital of Windfall Nation was in an uproar again. Outside the capital? Tomorrow? Everyone can watch the battle? Ah, great. Great. Previously, I was worried the battle would be held in the Imperial Palace. Now it seems like I was overthinking. The battle between Master Duan and the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking will definitely be exciting. Unfortunately, the location will have to be guessed in the afternoon. Otherwise, I'll go and get a seat now. While the entire capital of Windfall Nation was in an uproar, another piece of shocking news spread out from King Qian's estate. I'll add one more thing. The battle between Master Lin Dong and the Duan Lingtian is a death duel. It won't end until one of them dies. The moment this news spread out, the entire capital of Windfall Nation fell silent. Death duel? Everyone was stunned by these three words. It did not cross their minds that the powerhouse from the Southern Ridgyuan Mansion would have a death duel with the Duan Lingtian. Chapter 1628. A death duel meant they would fight to the death. Heavens! What kind of enmity does Lin Dong, the strongest person on the heaven ranking from the Southern Ridgyuan Mansion's Lin clan, have with Master Duan? He didn't say it was a death duel when he challenged Master Duan previously. If Master Duan isn't confident, he'll most likely go back on his word, right? How ruthless. He actually wants a death duel. When the people in the capital of Windfall Nation regained their senses, they began to discuss among themselves. Many people began to worry if Duan Ling Tian would participate in tomorrow's battle after finding out it was a death battle. A death duel to determine life and death. This was not a joke. A person only had one life. Once it was over, it would mean the end of the person's life. If there was no deep enmity between them, they would not have a death duel. Soon after, the discussions in the capital of Windfall Nation began to change again. Death duel? I wonder if Master Duan will participate in the death duel with Lin Dong tomorrow after finding out it's a death duel. If I were Master Duan, I'd definitely not participate. Since the other party dares to issue a death duel, it's obvious he's full of confidence and doesn't come with good intentions. If he agrees, won't he be jumping into the pit that the other party has dug? Although Master Duan is quite strong, I'm afraid he's still slightly weaker than Lin Dong. After all, Lin Dong is the strongest person on the heaven ranking. He's also known as the strongest person below the Saint stage in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion's district. In the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion, I'm afraid nobody below the Saint stage is a match for him. More and more people felt that after Duan Ling Tian found out about the life and death battle, he would shrink back or even flee at the last minute. Death duel? Situ Hao was the first to receive the news in the Situ clan. What enmity does Lin Dong have with Master Duan? He actually wants to have a death duel with Master Duan. It's obvious he wants to kill Master Duan. Situ Hao's expression was grave. Initially, he already felt guilty about Duan Ling Tian leaving the Situ clan voluntarily. However, when he heard Lin Dong was going to have a death duel with Duan Ling Tian, his first reaction was to worry about Duan Ling Tian's safety. After all, a life and death battle was no joke. Situ Hao's eyes flickered as he went to the courtyard where his son, Situ Hang, lived. Although Duan Ling Tian had announced his departure from the Situ clan and was no longer the interim advisor of Situ clan, he did not plan to leave the Situ clan's estate before he left Windfall Nation. Master Duan, you know Lin Dong from the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion? Situ Hao had come to look for Duan Ling Tian. When he saw Duan Ling Tian, he went straight to the point. No, I don't. Duan Ling Tian shook his head. I only heard about him after I came to Windfall Nation. I know he's the strongest person on the heaven ranking, and he's a lineal disciple of the Lin clan in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. He's widely acknowledged as the strongest person below the Saint stage in the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion. Situ clan head, why do you ask? Duan Ling Tian looked puzzled. This doesn't make sense. Upon hearing Duan Ling Tian's words and seeing the puzzled expression on his son's face, Situ Hao was puzzled. Father, what's going on? Situ Hang asked. There's news from King Qian's estate that Lin Dong will have a battle with Master Duan. It's a death duel. Situ Hao said as he looked at Duan Ling Tian. Death duel? Horror dawned on Situ Hang's face. Lin Dong wants to kill Master Duan? A death duel would not stop until one of them was dead. The battle would not stop until one of them was dead. Death duel? Upon hearing Situ Hao's words, Duan Ling Tian could not help but narrow his eyes. A cold gleam flashed in his eyes. This news had also exceeded his expectations. Since Master Duan doesn't know Lin Dong, there's only one possibility. It's someone from King Qian's estate who wants to kill you. Perhaps it's King Qian himself who wants to kill you. As the clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao's mind worked quickly. He quickly realized this. However, why would King Qian want to kill you? Regarding this, Situ Hao was unable to understand it no matter how hard he thought about it. Situ Hang was also puzzled. Only Duan Ling Tian remained calm. It was as though he was not puzzled by this matter at all. He did not need to guess to know King Qian's motive. He must have come for the Devil Seal tablet in his possession. He didn't hesitate to go to the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion to ask the strongest person on the heaven ranking to deal with me for the Devil Seal tablet in my possession. I know. At this moment, a familiar voice resonated from outside. The person who walked into the courtyard was none other than Situ Ho, the supreme elder of Situ clan. Grandfather Ho, do you know why King Qian wants to kill Master Duan? Situ Hang's eyes lit up immediately. Situ Hao and Duan Ling Tian immediately looked at Situ Ho in unison. Situ Hao had a curious expression on his face. Duan Ling Tian, on the other hand, frowned. He was secretly shocked. Don't tell me the news about the Devil Seal tablet being in my possession has already spread out? Even the supreme elder of the Situ clan knows about it? However, as soon as Situ Ho spoke, he quickly realized he was overthinking. However, he did not expect there to be such a coincidence in this world. According to Situ Ho, the reason King Qian wanted to kill him was because he wanted to repay a servant who had saved his life many years ago. That servant had left King Qian's estate many years ago and formed a bandit gang at the southern border of Windfall Nation. As the great leader, he led a carefree life. However, half a year ago his third brother was killed by a mysterious powerhouse. He brought the portrait of the mysterious powerhouse with him and traveled thousands of miles to the capital of Windfall Nation just to fulfill the promise King Qian made to him back then. He was willing to do something within his power for King Qian. He wanted King Qian to kill the mysterious powerhouse in the portrait. The mysterious powerhouse was none other than Duan Lingtian. It's him. As Situ Ho spoke, Duan Lingtian recalled the incident when he first arrived in Windfall Nation. At that time, the third chief of the bandit gang wanted to kill him after extorting a village. In the end, he was killed by him instead. At that time, he did not destroy the corpse. This was because he felt a bandit gang that was comparable to an eighth-rate force would not be able to threaten him even if all of them came out. I can't believe the great leader of a bandit gang that's comparable to an eighth-rate force is actually related to King Qian, the fourth prince of Windfall Nation's imperial family. Duan Lingtian could not help but sigh inwardly. Looks like I really can't underestimate anyone next time. Oh, I see. Situ Hao and Situ Hang finally understood after listening to Situ Ho's words. Chapter 1629. In fact, Duan Lingtian's thought process was just like a normal person's thought process. Please search for the most complete. Damn. After all, a bandit group that was comparable to an eighth-rate force should not be a threat to him. Even if there were 100 of such bandit groups, there might not even be one that could threaten Duan Lingtian. However, Duan Lingtian just had to encounter a bandit group that was related to King Qian. He was rendered speechless by this. Although he was speechless, he did not regret it. After all, the reason King Qian was targeting him was not because of that matter. It was mostly because of the Devil Seal tablet in his possession. You want my Devil Seal tablet? You'll have to have the ability and the people you recruited to have the ability to do so. A hint of disdain flashed in the depth of Duan Lingtian's eyes. Naturally, Situ Ho, Situ Hao, and his son did not notice the hint of disdain in his eyes. Master Duan, it seems like King Qian intends to kill you. Why don't you leave the capital and Windfall Nation now? Situ Hang asked solemnly as he looked at Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was his savior. Naturally, he did not want anything to happen to Duan Lingtian. Even though Duan Lingtian seemed confident in his battle with Lin Dong, he still did not believe Duan Lingtian was a match for Lin Dong. After all, Lin Dong was the strongest person on the heaven ranking in the southern Ridgyuan mansion. The heaven ranking had also gone through countless years of history in the southern Ridgyuan mansion. Could be said that it was very valuable. That's right, Master Duan. Situ Hao also advised. It's obvious that King Qian's group has ill intentions. It's best if you don't accept the battle at this time. I've heard that Lin Dong is only a step away from the Saint stage 6 months ago. Although he might not be at the Saint stage yet, he's definitely not far away from it. Master Duan, please leave. Situ Ho persuaded as well. There's no need to persuade the three of you. Duan Lingtian was touched by their persuasion, but he shook his head and rejected them. Since they want a battle to the death, then so be it. If I retreat from this battle, it will only leave an irreparable wound on my path of martial arts, and it will have a profound impact on my future path of martial arts. Therefore, I will not avoid this battle. If he wants to fight, then let's fight. If he wants to fight to the death, then so be it. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's entire body emitted a strong battle intent. His fighting spirit soared, invincible. Situ Hao, his son, and Situ Ho exchanged glances when they saw this. They could not help but smile bitterly. Although they didn't want to see Duan Lingtian throw his life away, Duan Lingtian's resolute attitude made them feel that they couldn't change Duan Lingtian's decision. At this time, they could only hope that Duan Lingtian would be safe in tomorrow's battle. Time continued to pass by. In the afternoon, news came from King Qian's estate again. They confirmed the location and time of the death duel between Lin Dong and Duan Lingtian. Tomorrow noon, Northern Mang Mountain in the north of the capital. Northern Mang Mountain. Soon after, everyone in the capital of Windfall Nation received the news. Countless martial cultivators began to rush out of the capital and made their way to Northern Mang Mountain. Quick, quick, let's get a good spot. We can't miss the battle tomorrow noon. I've decided. I'll stay at Northern Mang Mountain tonight. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't be able to get in tomorrow noon. The crowd made their way to Northern Mang Mountain. It was destined that many people would spend the night at Northern Mang Mountain, in King Qian's estate. Found him? Yi Mu Bai, the former servant of King Qian and the current leader of the bandit group at the border of Windfall Nation, had his eyes lit up when he learned that King Qian had found the mysterious powerhouse who killed his third brother. Duan Lingtian? The former interim advisor of Situ clan who's going to have a death duel with Mr. Lin Dong? When he found out who the mysterious expert was, his pupils could not help but shrink. Naturally, he was not completely clueless when he was in King Qian's estate. Duan Lingtian was a young powerhouse who rose to fame in Windfall Nation a few months ago. He had become famous after he defeated Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect and replaced her on the Heaven ranking. Recently, he had also heard that Lin Dong, the strongest powerhouse on the Heaven ranking, had come from the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion to challenge Duan Lingtian. He planned to join in the fun tomorrow. It did not cross his mind that he would receive news at this moment that the mysterious powerhouse who killed his third brother at the southern border of Windfall Nation was none other than Duan Lingtian. Fortunately, I came to look for the Fourth Imperial Highness. If I was alone, I definitely wouldn't be a match for Duan Lingtian. The moment Yi Mu Bai thought of this, he felt a little relieved. Although Duan Lingtian had announced his departure from Situ clan and was no longer the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian's strength alone was enough to completely suppress him. He was not a match for him at all. Initially, I was wondering why Mr. Lin Dong, the strongest powerhouse on the Heaven ranking, would come from the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion to Windfall Nation to challenge Duan Lingtian, who's ranked 23rd on the Heaven ranking. Now, it seems like the Fourth Imperial Highness must have invited him. Duan Lingtian is the interim advisor of Situ clan, and he had even saved the great young master of Situ clan. It won't be easy for the Fourth Imperial Highness to make a move on him. Yi Mu Bai thought for a moment before he added, therefore, under such circumstances, the Fourth Imperial Highness must have invited Mr. Lin Dong here to kill Duan Lingtian. He had also heard about the death duel between Duan Lingtian and Lin Dong tomorrow. I can't believe the Fourth Imperial Highness still cares so much about me even though I've left for so many years. In order to repay me for saving his life, he actually traveled thousands of miles to the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion to invite a powerhouse like Mr. Lin Dong here. I'm afraid he must have paid a hefty price to invite a powerhouse like Mr. Lin Dong here. Yi Mu Bai was extremely touched. Naturally, this was also because Yi Mu Bai did not know the truth. If he knew the truth, he would not think this way. King Qian had paid a hefty price to invite Lin Dong, the strongest person on the Heaven ranking, for the sake of the Devil Seal tablet in Duan Lingtian's possession. As for Yi Mu Bai, King Qian really did not take it to heart. However, since everything was so coincidental, and Duan Lingtian happened to be the person Yi Mu Bai wanted to kill, King Qian decided to take advantage of the situation and return the favor. Although King Qian could not be bothered to return a favor from someone like Yi Mu Bai, he still asked someone to inform Yi Mu Bai to go to northern Mang Mountain tomorrow to see how Duan Lingtian was killed by Lin Dong. Third brother, the person who wants to kill you will be killed tomorrow. I'm useless and can't personally avenge you. However, it's the same with the Fourth Imperial Highness avenging you. As Yi Mu Bai muttered to himself, his brows were filled with excitement. In the main hall of King Rong's estate. Who's that Duan Lingtian? Initially, when he announced he was leaving the Situ clan and would no longer be the interim advisor, I thought he was afraid of the pressure from the Situ clan. However, since he accepted Lin Dong's challenge, it means he's not trying to avoid Lin Dong's challenge. King Rong, who was dressed like a middle-aged scholar, had a frown on his face. Although he had never met the interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Lingtian, he had heard of him. However, at this moment he realized he could not figure out Duan Lingtian at all. Second Imperial Highness, now that King Qian's estate said Lin Dong has issued a challenge to a death duel, we don't know if Duan Lingtian will show up tomorrow. Perhaps he might still be able to accept the challenge if he doesn't know it's a death duel. However, since it's a death duel tomorrow, he might not show up. An old man standing behind King Rong chimed in. You have a point. No matter how high his innate talent is and how strong he is, he's still much weaker than Lin Dong. I really don't understand why fourth brother would spend so much effort to invite Lin Dong from the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion just for a Duan Lingtian. Is there a need for him to do that? King Rong shook his head. He felt King Qian had overestimated Duan Lingtian. Second Imperial Highness, apart from his innate talent and strength, Duan Lingtian is also related to the Drift Blaze sect. It's said that Lady Feng from the Drift Blaze sect has her heart set on him. Perhaps King Qian is afraid of Lady Feng from the Drift Blaze sect so he can't make a move openly. The old man said, moreover, before this Duan Lingtian was still a member of the Situ clan. Moreover, the Situ clan relies on our King Rong's estate. King Qian has to be cautious. You have a point. King Rong nodded. Although fourth brother isn't very smart, he has many capable people by his side. I can't believe he's able to pull Situ Ming from the Situ clan into King Qian's estate. What a slap to my face. When King Rong reached the end of his sentence, his expression darkened. Second Imperial Highness, I'm sure King Qian will be there for the battle at Beimang Mountain tomorrow. Will you be there? The old man asked as he looked at King Rong. Of course. King Rong nodded. It doesn't matter if Duan Ling Tian dares to show up or not, I'll still go and join in the fun. During this period of time, fourth brother has been riding on my head a lot. If I'm not there tomorrow, his subordinates might spread the news that I'm afraid of him, and that's why I didn't go to Beimang Mountain to watch the battle. I really hope that Duan Ling Tian will show up at Beimang Mountain tomorrow. Up until now, I haven't seen this young genius who's already famous in Windfall Nation. The old man said. I hope he'll show up as well. However, if he shows up, he'll most likely die in Lin Dong's hands. Fortunately, he's already left the Situ clan. Otherwise, if he's killed, the reputation of King Rong's estate will be damaged as well. King Rong said. In the Situ clan. When Bai Li Hong and the others found out that Duan Ling Tian was going to have a death duel with Lin Dong, the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the southern Ridgyuan mansion, they could no longer sit still. They immediately came to persuade Duan Ling Tian. They had been in Windfall Nation for quite some time. Naturally, they knew what the heaven ranking was and what it meant to be the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking. The strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking was publicly acknowledged as the strongest person below the Saint stage in the southern Ridgyuan Mansions district. Chapter 1630. Junior brother, since you've already announced that you're leaving the Situ clan, there's no need for you to participate in the battle tomorrow. In Bai Li Hong's opinion, Duan Ling Tian was no longer an outsider. Due to this reason, he did not beat around the bush as he said, as the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking, Lin Dong's strength is widely acknowledged by the entire southern Ridgyuan mansion. Moreover, it's obvious he came prepared since he dared to challenge you despite knowing your strength. You're the one who's at a disadvantage if you have a death duel with him. Bai Li Hong said solemnly. That's right, Duan Ling Tian. Although your reputation is important, it's nothing compared to your life. Moreover, you can always wait until you've broken through to the Saint stage before you look for Lin Dong and defeat him to avenge yourself. Even if people say you're afraid of Lin Dong now, as long as you defeat him in the future, everyone will naturally think you're stronger than him. Qin Xiao Shui chimed in. Young master, although I don't know how strong Lin Dong is compared to you, I think you shouldn't go tomorrow. Xiong Quan chimed in. Soon after, Sima Changfeng, Gold Thug and Nangong joined in. Their words were similar to what Bai Li Hong and the other two had said. All of them were trying to persuade Duan Ling Tian. Don't worry. If I wasn't confident, I wouldn't have accepted Lin Dong's challenge. I've never been afraid of anyone below the Saint stage. Duan Ling Tian smiled faintly in the face of their advice. His face was filled with confidence. When Duan Ling Tian saw the worried expression on their faces, he immediately said, All of you have watched me all the way until today. Don't tell me you think I'm the kind of person who would seek death? If I'm that kind of person, do you think I'll still be alive and standing here? Duan Ling Tian shook his head when he reached the end of his sentence. The moment Duan Ling Tian's words left his mouth, Bai Li Hong and the others fell silent. When they thought about it carefully, it seemed like Duan Ling Tian had never overestimated himself and sent himself to his death. Perhaps, many times, there were also those who did not think highly of Duan Ling Tian. However, in the end, Duan Ling Tian always took everyone by surprise and shocked them. When they thought of this and felt the strong confidence emanating from Duan Ling Tian, they all felt relieved. Then we'll see how you defeat Lin Dong tomorrow. Nangong Yi smiled. That's right. We want to see how the number one person on the heaven ranking will be defeated by you. Qin Xiao Shui added. After Duan Ling Tian's reminder, their mentality had undergone an earth-shattering change in an instant. They were now filled with confidence in Duan Ling Tian. Yes. Duan Ling Tian nodded and smiled. Although he didn't say anything, the confident smile on his face was enough to explain everything. Bai Li Hong and the others did not disturb Duan Ling Tian any further. After bidding farewell, they left and returned to their respective residences. On the other hand, Duan Ling Tian also returned to his room. However, he did not enter the Seven Treasures exquisite pagoda to cultivate. Instead, he sat cross-legged on the bed in his room. How do I enter the second realm of the Sovereign Heart Sword? Duan Ling Tian muttered in a low voice, and a sense of bewilderment was mixed between his brows. Although he had already mastered the content of the Sovereign Heart Sword and had already entered the first realm of the Sovereign Heart Sword, he felt that there was still a long way to go before he could enter the second realm. He knew roughly what the second realm was, but it was extremely difficult to enter it. After staying on the third level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda for more than a year, he had been troubled many times. In the end, he concluded that he needed an entry point to enter the second realm of the Sovereign Heart Sword. As long as he could find an entry point, he could enter the second realm of the Sovereign Heart Sword at any time. While Duan Lingtian was thinking about it for a long time, he still could not come up with an answer. Night had already fallen and it quickly passed by. It was only when dawn arrived the next morning that Duan Lingtian stretched his body and returned to his senses. He smiled wryly and said, "There's still no way. It seems like I'll need an opportunity to enter the second realm. I really hope that opportunity will come soon. If that's the case, my ability will be raised to another level." When Duan Lingtian thought about the progress he had made in the past 3 months, he was very satisfied. The strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking? Even before I went into closed-door cultivation, I wasn't afraid of you, let alone now. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. You don't have to return to the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion anymore. When Duan Lingtian thought about the death duel at noon today, his eyes narrowed as a cold gleam flashed in them. That Lin Dong seems to be a lineal disciple from a sixth-rate clan in the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion. I'm really curious how King Qian will face the wrath of that sixth-rate clan after Lin Dong dies in Windfall Nation. Although the sixth-rate clan in the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion is not as powerful as the Windfall Nation's imperial family, it's not that far off. Duan Lingtian did not know when a sneer appeared on his face. Since King Qian wanted to kill him, he would let King Qian have a taste of his own medicine. Early in the morning, Duan Lingtian walked out of his room and happened to see Situ Hang having his meal in the courtyard. "Master Duan, why are you up so early? Didn't you cultivate?" When Situ Hang saw Duan Lingtian, he was a little surprised. In his opinion, Master Duan should have stayed in his room and cultivated until the death duel today. However, Duan Lingtian's appearance and Duan Lingtian's indifference made him realize he was wrong. Faced with Lin Dong, the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion, Master Duan was extremely calm. He was so calm that he thought Master Duan was confident he could defeat or even kill Lin Dong, the powerhouse from the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion. However, when he thought about it again, he dismissed this thought. Lin Dong was the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the Southern Ridge Yuan mansion. He was not an ordinary person. Since he dared to have a death duel with Duan Lingtian, he must be confident. Otherwise, who would seek death for no reason? When Situ Hang saw Duan Lingtian sitting down, he immediately ordered the servant girl to prepare another set of breakfast. When Situ Hang saw Duan Lingtian eating his breakfast with a calm expression on his face, he could not help but smile wryly. "Master Duan, you're going to have a death duel with Lin Dong at noon today? Aren't you worried at all?" "Worried about what?" Duan Lingtian asked rhetorically. Duan Lingtian's words caused Situ Hang to be at a loss for words. Duan Lingtian's confidence caused him to be utterly unable to reply. To be honest, he also hoped Master Duan would be able to survive the death duel and become the final victor. However, when he thought about Lin Dong, his hopes seemed to have turned into wishful thinking. In his opinion, the reason Duan Lingtian was so confident was because he did not realize how terrifying Lin Dong was. "Forget it. At most, I'll ask Grandfather Ho to make a move when Master Duan is in danger. As long as Master Duan is fine, I'll take all the blame." Situ Hang muttered to himself. He had an idea. It was a crazy idea. As long as Lin Dong killed Duan Lingtian at noon today, he would ask Situ Ho to make a move and save Duan Lingtian. Naturally, he would be scolded if he did that. He had already thought about it. At that time, he would say that he was the one who asked Situ Ho to make a move and that this matter had nothing to do with the Situ clan. However, Situ Hang seemed to have forgotten that if he could ask Situ Ho to make a move, how could the Saint Stage powerhouses on King Qian's side not be prepared? As the saying went, too much concern makes one confused. It was apparent that Situ Hang was like that now. Time continued to pass by quietly. Soon noon arrived. In the Situ clan, a group of people led by Situ Hao left the Situ clan's estate in a mighty manner. They left the capital through the north gate and headed north. After leaving the capital, the group of people rose up into the air and flew away. Bai Li Hong and the others were among the group of people from the Situ clan. Currently, Bai Li Hong was the interim advisor of the Situ clan. As a 3-star saint inscription master, he was also acknowledged by everyone in the Situ clan. Due to this reason, even if Duan Lingtian was not in the Situ clan, Sima Changfeng and the others would still be able to live comfortably with Bai Lihong around. In fact, even without Bai Lihong's identity as a 3-star saint inscription master, they would still be able to live comfortably in the Situ clan. This was because Feng Wu Dao was the father of Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. It was impossible for the Situ clan to not take this into consideration. Where's Duan Lingtian? Qin Shao Shui looked left and right, but he did not see Duan Lingtian at all. I haven't seen him since I woke up this morning. I wonder where he went. Nangongyi also looked left and right before shaking his head. Master Duan left after having breakfast with me this morning. According to him, he's no longer the interim advisor of our Situ clan, so it's better for him to go to northern Mang Mountain alone. At this moment, Situ Hang came closer and smiled wryly. In that case, he must have arrived at northern Mang Mountain by now. Qin Shao Shui and Nangongyi finally understood. Northern Mang Mountain was located 10,000 miles north of the Windfall Nation's capital. To an ordinary person, 10,000 miles was an astronomical figure. However, to the people from the Situ clan, even Qin Shao Shui and those with the weakest cultivation base, 10,000 miles was not a long distance at all. Although they had to take care of Qin Shao Shui and the others, they still managed to arrive at northern Mang Mountain very quickly. So many people. However, when they arrived at northern Mang Mountain, they were shocked when they saw the black mass of people in the sky above the mountain. The black mass of people in the sky above northern Mang Mountain looked like black clouds that were squeezed together from afar. It was as though northern Mang Mountain was covered by the black clouds. Since yesterday, the people in the capital have been rushing to northern Mang Mountain to look for a good spot to watch the battle. Situ Hang said, apart from the people in the capital, even those who live near the capital rushed to northern Mang Mountain as soon as they received the news. However, now that the sky above northern Mang Mountain is filled with people, how are Master Duan and Lin Dong going to fight? Don't tell me they didn't think about this? Situ Hang shook his head as he looked at the black mass of people in the sky above northern Mang Mountain. Chapter 1631. The sky above northern Mang Mountain was densely packed with people. With so many people gathered together, it was only natural that it was noisy. It was as though the entire sky was filled with the buzzing sound of birds flapping their wings. The enthusiasm of the people in the capital, and even the people around the capital towards this battle was evident. Its Imperial Highness King Rome. Suddenly someone called out. Immediately the noisy scene quieted down. Many gazes followed the gaze of the person who had shouted and landed in the distance. In the distance, a group of people was making their way over. The person in the lead was a middle-aged man standing on the back of a giant golden bird. He had a feather fan and a silk scarf on his head. He looked like a middle-aged scholar. However, many of the people present recognized that person. This person was none other than the second prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family, King Rong. In the eyes of the people of Windfall Nation, King Rong was the most promising person to become the next emperor of Windfall Nation. Naturally, it was not certain if he would be able to stand on that position in the end. This was because he had another strong competitor. Although he was inferior to him in all aspects, he was still on par with him. That person was none other than the fourth prince, King Qian. Behind King Rong were 3 expressionless old men. Among the 3 old men, one was dressed in a black robe, one was dressed in a white robe, and one was dressed in a gray robe. They followed closely behind King Rong as though they were one with the heavenly emperor. Many people present on the scene felt pressured. At this moment, everyone was certain the 3 old men behind King Rong were saint stage powerhouses. Behind the 3 old men, there were 7 other people following behind them. The 7 of them were dressed in silver armor and looked majestic. They were King Rong's 7 personal guards. Although these 7 personal guards looked young and middle-aged, all of them were powerful eminent saint stage powerhouses. Although they were not on the heaven rankings powerhouses, they were not far from it. So many people? King Rong was surprised by the commotion at the scene. He did not expect the battle between Duan Lingtian and Lin Dong would attract so many people. In fact, this was because the location and time of today's battle was only announced yesterday. The news had not spread very far. Otherwise there would be more people here. Your Highness King Rong. Now that King Rong had appeared, the leaders of the forces that were on King Rong's side, including the Situ clan, also brought their men and took the initiative to greet King Rong. He is King Rong? The person who made the Situ clan expel Duan Lingtian? In the distance, Bai Lihong and the rest did not follow Situ Hao and the rest to meet King Rong. Chen Shaoshui looked at King Rong and said with a gloomy expression. Humph. He actually dares to look down on Duan Lingtian. He will soon know that he is a snob. Nangongyi cursed in a low voice. Situ Hao, you did well. Facing the group of people who came over to greet him, King Rong only nodded his head. Only Situ Hao was singled out and praised. Your Highness, King Rong is too kind. Situ Hao naturally knew what King Rong was referring to. Although he felt bitter in his heart, he still managed to squeeze out a smile on his face. To be honest, he really hoped that Master Duan would not appear. Situ Hang, who was following behind Situ Hao, had a grave expression on his face. He was displeased with King Rong, but he did not dare to show it. He was afraid it would implicate his entire clan. King Qian is here as well. A low exclamation resonated in the air and attracted everyone's attention again. In the distance, the people from King Qian's estate had also appeared. The group of people led by King Qian arrived in a majestic manner. King Qian took the lead while two old men followed closely behind him. Behind the two old men were two middle-aged men and another old man. Compared to King Rong, King Qian's extravagance was much smaller. In comparison, it was easier for people to have a good impression of him. After all, the few silver-armored guards standing behind King Rong had a stiff expression on their faces. They gave off a solemn feeling. Most people would not like them. Second brother, aren't we just here to watch a death duel? It's not like you're going to fight. It's fine if you brought the three old men, but why did you bring your guards along as well? Isn't this a little too much? The moment King Qian appeared, he looked at King Rong with a smile. Hints of mockery could be heard in his voice. Upon hearing his words, many people in the surroundings looked at King Rong with a strange expression. They felt King Rong was making a mountain out of a molehill. No matter what, the worst thing was to compete. Compared to King Qian, King Rong's extravagance was indeed a little too much. The moment King Qian's words left his mouth, a hint of coldness flashed in King Rong's eyes. However, he did not show it on his face. Instead, he smiled faintly and said, Fourth brother, didn't you also bring a few handymen with you other than the two old men? Both of us brothers are of the same mind after all. Handymen. The moment King Rong's words left his mouth, horror dawned on the two middle-aged men behind King Qian and the two old men behind him. This was undoubtedly a great humiliation to them. No matter what, they were saint-stage powerhouses. Only the other old man smiled wryly. He did not seem to feel humiliated. He was indeed a handyman in King Qian's estate many years ago. Among the two middle-aged men, one of them was familiar to most of the people present on the scene. Isn't that Situ Ming, the second master of Situ clan? Soon after, many people recognized Situ Ming. Humph. This Situ Ming actually betrayed the clan that nurtured him. What an ungrateful wretch. He's destined to be a disgrace to the Situ clan for someone like him to appear. Many righteous people had already begun to scold Situ Ming. These words naturally enraged Situ Ming, who did not dare to speak up in front of King Rong. His gaze turned cold as he looked at those who mocked him. However, when he realized there were so many people who mocked him, he did not know how to react. Could it be that he could kill all of them? Putting aside the fact that he might not be able to kill all of them, even if he could, King Qian would not allow him to do so. After all, he was now a member of King Qian's estate. Every action of his represented King Qian's estate. If he killed people in public, it would definitely affect King Qian's estate's reputation. Currently, King Qian valued his reputation the most. He was going to fight for the throne. Naturally, he would not allow others to tarnish his estate's reputation. That person next to Situ Ming seems a little familiar. Soon after, someone stared at the middle-aged man next to Situ Ming. I remember now. He's Yifeng. Soon after, someone exclaimed in a low voice. Yifeng? Who's Yifeng? Chapter 1632. Yifeng, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect. Not long ago, I heard that the Dark Nether sect has been annihilated. It only exists in name now. The Supreme Elder is dead and the sect leader is missing. I didn't expect him to be in King Qian's estate. Many people were shocked. What a loser. Some people who had suffered at the hands of the Dark Nether sect in the past cursed softly. It was obvious Yifeng's reputation was not good as well. Upon hearing these words, Yifeng's expression turned extremely grave. On the other hand, the old man standing next to them had a hint of excitement in his eyes. He was here today to see how his third brother's enemy would die. This was the only thing he cared about. He did not care about anything else. As long as his third brother's enemy was dead, He would be able to return to his lair at the southern border of Windfall Nation and continue to be a local tyrant. King Qian did not expect King Rong to resolve his verbal attack so easily. He knew he was not as eloquent as King Rong, so he tactfully kept quiet. However, even if he did not say anything, it did not mean King Rong would let him go just like that. Fourth brother, I heard that one of the main characters today is a guest of your King Qian's estate. Why isn't he here yet? Don't tell me he missed the appointment? King Rong asked with a smile. Second brother, don't tell me you don't know who the guest of my King Qian's estate is? Do you think he'll miss the appointment? Don't tell me you think he doesn't have the guts to fight with Duan Lingtian? King Qian was delighted when he heard King Rong's words. He did not expect King Rong would jump into his own trap. He was stunned for a moment before he responded. When King Rong heard this, a sense of foreboding rose in his heart. He was merely mocking King Qian. However, when King Qian said this, it seemed as though he had completely twisted his words. It made people think he was mocking the direct descendant of the Lin clan from the southern Ridgyuan mansion. Humph? King Rong, right? Based on your words, it seems like you think I'm not as good as Duan Lingtian? At this moment, a cold snort sounded. Soon after, a white figure appeared before everyone's eyes. It was a white-clad young man. A hint of arrogance could be seen between his brows as he stared at King Rong with a pair of sharp eyes. It seemed as though he did not show any respect to King Rong, even though he was the second prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family. How dare you? Just as King Rong's expression darkened, the three old men behind him shouted in unison. The auras of three Saint Stage powerhouses swept out and enveloped the young man in white. In the face of the three Saint Realm experts' auras, the young man in white did not pay any attention to them. He was not affected at all. The three old men instantly frowned. They realized that the white-clothed young man's current cultivation wasn't something they could suppress with their auras. Of course, this didn't mean that the white-clothed young man was a Saint Realm expert. They were absolutely sure that the white-clothed young man wasn't a Saint Realm expert. However, even if he wasn't a Saint Realm expert now, he might be able to break through to the Saint Realm tomorrow. The reason for that was because they could sense the aura of a breakthrough from the white-clothed young man. They were experienced people, so it was easy for them to discover this. He's the #1 expert on the heaven ranking from the southern Ridgyuan mansion, Lin Dong? This Lin Dong is really arrogant. He actually dares to be so impudent in front of His Highness King Rong. Humph? He's arrogant because he has the ability to do so. As far as I know, Lin Dong's clan is a 6th-rate clan in the southern Ridgyuan mansion. It's not even comparable to the Windfall Nation's imperial family behind His Highness King Rong. As a direct descendant of that clan, why would he need to be afraid of His Highness King Rong? With Lin Dong's cultivation base and reputation, he must be an important figure in the clan behind him. King Rong might not dare to touch him. Many people in the surroundings whispered among themselves. Although their voices were not loud, it still entered King Rong's ears clearly. Killing intent flashed in the depth of King Rong's eyes as he looked at Lin Dong. He really wanted to kill Lin Dong as soon as possible. However, he knew it was just as the people in the surroundings had said. He really did not dare to touch Lin Dong. At the very least, he did not dare to do so in public. King Rong inadvertently glanced at King Qian and noticed King Qian was looking at him and Lin Dong as though he was watching a good show. His expression turned grave immediately. Fourth brother, I didn't say that Mr. Lin Dong doesn't have the guts to fight with Duan Lingtian. Don't talk nonsense. Naturally, King Rong would not admit defeat in front of Lin Dong in front of so many people. He turned to look at King Qian and said nonchalantly, giving himself a way out. However, King Qian was unwilling to give him a way out. He blocked King Rong's way and said, Second brother, what do you mean by what you said earlier? What do you mean by the guest in my estate standing me up? Humph? King Rong snorted coldly and no longer looked at King Qian. As a direct descendant of the Lin clan and the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking, Lin Dong was, naturally, not a fool. He knew King Qian was using him. Seeing that King Rong had given him a way out, he did not continue to pursue the matter. Whoosh! Without warning, Lin Dong's body moved. In just a blink of an eye, he had already left the crowd and appeared far away. His gaze landed on the crowd as he asked coldly, Is Duan Lingtian here? However, no one responded to his question. Instead, it was his voice that entered into northern Mang Mountain and reverberated in the air. Has Duan Lingtian arrived? Is Duan Lingtian here? At the same time, the people present on the scene lifted their heads to look at the sky. They saw the scorching sun in the sky. It was already noon. They looked left and right trying to find Duan Lingtian. Don't tell me that Mr. Duan really doesn't dare to come? It's just as I expected. Forget it. I'm only here today to try my luck. I didn't expect Duan Lingtian to come. After all, this is a death duel. It's not strange that he's afraid of the strongest person on the heaven ranking. What a pity. I've come for nothing today. Many people sighed. However, not many of them mocked Duan Lingtian. After all, in their eyes, Lin Dong was the strongest person on the heaven ranking in the southern Ridgyuan mansion. His reputation was not something Duan Lingtian could compare to. If they were Duan Lingtian, they would not accept Lin Dong's death duel so easily. Since Lin Dong dared to issue a death duel, it was obvious he was confident in his own strength. Would he not be an idiot if he dared to provoke Duan Lingtian? Why hasn't Duan Lingtian appeared yet? Don't tell me he doesn't dare to come? Behind King Qian, the old man standing next to Situ Ming and Yi Feng had a grave expression on his face. If Duan Lingtian did not come, it meant he would not be able to avenge his third brother. Don't tell me he doesn't dare to come? At this moment, even King Qian could not help but frown. If Duan Lingtian did not come, it meant he would lose a chance to obtain the Devil Seal tablet. It was not that he did not want to send the powerhouses under his command to kill Duan Lingtian and snatch the Devil Seal tablet. However, he realized Duan Lingtian was still in the Situ clan after he announced his departure. His men did not have a chance to make a move at all. I hope Duan Lingtian won't appear. Unlike King Qian, the clan leader of Situ clan, Situ Hao, hoped Duan Lingtian would not come. Only Situ Hang stood at the side with a bitter expression on his face. This was because he knew Master Duan would definitely come since he said he would come. He had unconditional trust in Mr. Duan on this point. Although most of the people present on the scene were certain Duan Lingtian would not come, they were not in a hurry to leave. After all, it was only a little past noon. Who knew if there would be a miracle after a while? If they left and Duan Lingtian came, would they not miss the opportunity? The strongest person on the heaven ranking, Lin Dong from the Lin clan, right? All of a sudden, a calm voice resonated from afar. The voice was heard before the person arrived. Upon hearing the voice, Situ Hao smiled wryly. Master Duan? He came in the end. Situ Hang, who was standing at the side, was not surprised at all. He knew Duan Lingtian would definitely come back. The eyes of Bai Li Hong and the others lit up immediately. After listening to Duan Lingtian's words yesterday, they were filled with confidence in Duan Lingtian. They were anticipating Duan Lingtian would be able to kill Lin Dong and make a name for himself. Isn't this Master Duan, the interim advisor of Situ clan? Many people looked at each other at once. He should be. Many people immediately shifted their attention to the direction where the voice came from. Soon after, a figure appeared there. As the figure got closer, one could vaguely see it was a purple-clad young man. The young man was handsome. He had dashing eyebrows and bright eyes. Coupled with his extraordinary aura, he attracted the attention of many female martial and Dao cultivators as soon as he appeared. These people stared at Duan Lingtian with burning eyes as though they wanted Duan Lingtian for themselves. It's Master Duan. Soon after, someone exclaimed when he recognized Duan Lingtian. This person was one of the Situ clan's guards. Although he was not qualified to come with the clan leader, he came on his own since he was not on duty today. He's Master Duan? After receiving confirmation, more and more people looked at Duan Lingtian. He's so young. Of course, I heard Master Duan is not even 40 years old yet. He's not even 40 years old, but he has the ability to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking. I don't think there's such a person in the history of Windfall Nation, right? No. There's such a person in the history of Windfall Nation. Don't tell me you've forgotten about Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect? Although Lady Feng was defeated by Master Duan, her strength was acknowledged by many Saint Stage powerhouses. Those Saint Stage powerhouses all said Lady Feng indeed has the ability to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking. The group of people discussed among themselves. Their eyes were filled with burning desire as they looked at Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Lin Dong, the strongest person in the heaven ranking, was ignored by them. In fact, it was understandable. Chapter 1633. Naturally, although Duan Lingtian was more attractive to the people present on the scene compared to Lin Dong, it did not mean they were more optimistic about Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was more attractive to them because Duan Lingtian was from Windfall Nation, and they were from Windfall Nation as well. If Duan Lingtian had gone to the Southern Ridgyuan Mansion to fight Lin Dong, and the spectators were all from Southern Ridgyuan Mansion, the scene would be different. Humph? So you're Duan Ling Tian? You're quite arrogant to take so long to arrive. I hope you won't disappoint me today. Although Lin Dong knew this, as the strongest person on the heaven ranking and the prodigy of the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion's Lin clan, it was impossible for him to be overshadowed by someone else even if the other party was a local tyrant. Due to this reason, he did not show any courtesy when he looked at Duan Ling Tian. Of course I won't disappoint you. Duan Ling Tian replied to Lin Dong calmly with a faint smile on his face. From the beginning until the end, his expression was calm, as though even if Mount Tai were to collapse in front of him, his expression would not change at all. Duan Ling Tian. At this moment, the group of people from King Qian's estate, led by King Qian, also shifted their attention to Duan Ling Tian. King Qian had only seen Duan Ling Tian's portrait before. This was his first time seeing Duan Ling Tian in person. Although he was unwilling to admit it, he had to admit that this handsome young man with an extraordinary bearing was indeed a dragon among men. When the two old men behind King Qian looked at Duan Ling Tian, their eyes were burning with desire. They knew Duan Ling Tian possessed the Devil Seal tablet. In King Qian's estate, apart from Yi Feng and King Qian, only the two of them knew that Duan Ling Tian possessed the Devil Seal tablet. Duan Ling Tian. Yi Feng's expression was extremely grave when he saw the purple-clad young man whom he had met before. The last time they met, the supreme elder of his dark nether sect was killed, and he was lucky enough to escape with his life. When he recalled the scene of the Devil Seal tombstone unleashing its might in his opponent's hands, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. If the Devil Seal tombstone hadn't looked for the Grand Elder in the first place, he would have been the one to die. Beside Yi Feng, Situ Ming stared at Duan Ling Tian, and his face seemed to be covered in a layer of frost. As far as he was concerned, the reason why he had come this far was all because of Duan Ling Tian. From the beginning, Duan Ling Tian had ruined his plans. Later on, Duan Ling Tian even destroyed his biggest ally, the Dark Nether sect, and forced Yi Feng, the sect leader of Dark Nether sect, to submit to King Qian. He was forced into a corner and could only bear the infamy and betray his clan to submit to King Qian. Duan Ling Tian, I want to see you die with my own eyes. It's a pity that you didn't die by my hands. Situ Ming's eyes were cold as he thought to himself. Beside Yi Feng and Situ Ming, the old man Yi Mu Bai, who was the great leader of a group of bandits at the southern border of Windfall Nation, stared at Duan Ling Tian coldly as well. He's the one who killed Third Brother? The former interim advisor of Situ clan, Duan Ling Tian? If it was only one of Yi Mu Bai, Yi Feng, and Situ Ming, Duan Ling Tian might not have noticed it. However, it was difficult for Duan Ling Tian to not notice the three hateful gazes coming from the same direction. Among the three of them, Situ Ming and Yi Feng could be considered as his old acquaintances. However, it was his first time seeing Yi Mu Bai. I don't think I've seen him before. Why does he look as though he wants to eat me? A hint of confusion could be seen in Duan Ling Tian's eyes when he looked at Yi Mu Bai. However, a thought soon flashed in his mind as though he had thought of something. That's right. He must be the great leader of that group of bandits, the eldest brother of the third leader of the group of bandits that I killed. He's also King Qian's servant, Yi Mu Bai. When Duan Ling Tian recalled the news that Situ Ho brought back that day, he finally understood everything. If that was the case, he was not surprised that Yi Mu Bai looked at him with such hatred. Yi Feng. Among the three of them, Situ Ming and Yi Mu Bai could not even cause a ripple in Duan Ling Tian's heart. However, Yi Feng made him want to kill him. This was because Yi Feng knew he had the Devil Seal tablet in his possession. Moreover, based on the burning and greedy gaze that King Qian and the two old men behind King Qian were looking at him, it was very likely that they knew he had the Devil Seal tablet in his possession. Therefore, he was even more certain that Lin Dong was the person King Qian hired to kill him and snatch the Devil Seal tablet from him. Naturally, based on the current situation, it seemed like Lin Dong did not know he had the Devil Seal tablet in his possession. It seems like King Qian did not tell Lin Dong the truth. However, it's normal when you think about it. Even Lin Dong and the Lin clan behind him would be tempted by the Devil Seal tablet. King Qian wouldn't go as far as to invite a wolf into his house. When the people from King Qian's estate were looking at Duan Ling Tian, the people from King Rong's estate were also looking at Duan Ling Tian. It's already come to this, yet he's still so calm. Is this Duan Ling Tian bluffing, or is he really confident? King Rong thought he had read many people, but he could not see through the purple-clad young man in front of him at all. Under the watchful eyes of the others, Duan Ling Tian and Lin Dong looked at each other before they moved and flew to the side of northern Mang Mountain. There were not many people there, so they could attack as they pleased. The two of them stood in the air, facing each other. One was dressed in purple while the other was dressed in white. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. When the people on northern Mang Mountain saw that Duan Lingtian and Lin Dong had chosen the location of their battle, they swarmed over in a grandiose manner and surrounded half of the sky. It was a vacuum that had a circumference of 1,000 meters. Naturally, some of the martial and Dao cultivators with lower cultivation bases stood far away. They did not dare to get too close for fear of being caught in the crossfire. Duan Lingtian, you're considered to have lived a good life since you're able to die in my hands. Lin Dong looked at Duan Lingtian coldly as he said indifferently. Based on his words, it was as though Duan Lingtian would definitely die in his hands today. Naturally, he did not think there was any suspense in this battle at all. How arrogant! Upon hearing Lin Dong's words, the people present on the scene had the same thought in their minds. Naturally, most of them felt Lin Dong had the right to be arrogant. After all, he was the strongest person on the heaven ranking in the southern Ridjuan mansion. Although Duan Lingtian had the strength to enter the top 10 of the heaven ranking, in most people's opinion, his current strength was still insufficient compared to Lin Dong. The strongest person among the younger generation in our Windfall Nation is going to die here today. What a pity. Duan Lingtian is younger than Lin Dong. If he's given a few more years, it's not impossible for him to defeat Lin Dong. However, it's almost impossible for him to win now. Heaven is really jealous of geniuses. When many people present on the scene looked at Duan Lingtian, a hint of pity could be seen in their eyes. They did not have high hopes for Duan Lingtian. Naturally, there were also a small group of people who were confident in Duan Lingtian. These people were none other than Bai Li Hong and a few others. Based on what you said, if you die in my hands, you won't be able to die in peace, right? After taking a deep look at Lin Dong, Duan Lingtian said with a smile on his face. If you want to kill me, you'll have to have the strength to do so. Lin Dong smirked as he looked at Duan Lingtian condescendingly. He regarded Duan Lingtian as an ant that he could trample on and trample on. I think it's more appropriate for me to say this. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly and confidently. I really don't know where you get your confidence from. Lin Dong's expression darkened when he did not expect Duan Lingtian to still be able to smile at this moment. Waves of turbulent aura suddenly surged out of his body. In just an instant, the air within a 100-meter radius with Lin Dong as the center began to tremble. A territory was rapidly being formed. You're using your territory in front of me? A faint smile appeared on the corner of Duan Lingtian's lips when he sensed the territory's aura. Ever since Duan Lingtian mastered the 10,000 Swords territory, he did not really care about the territories of martial and Dao cultivators below the Saint stage. In fact, many territories were crushed by his 10,000 Swords territory. Therefore, when Lin Dong was forming his territory, he also began to use the True Energy Consolidated Territory technique to form his own territory. 10,000 Swords territory. When Lin Dong's territory was rapidly forming and was about to take shape, waves of sharp aura surged out of Duan Lingtian's body as though it could shatter the void. When the aura surged out, it was as though there were countless sharp swords in front of him. The sharp aura was emitting from the swords. It's Master Duan's territory. It's said that Master Duan's territory shattered Miss Feng's territory as soon as he formed it. I wonder if his territory can suppress Lin Dong's territory. If it can, perhaps he'll stand a chance. I think it's unlikely. Moreover, even if he can suppress Lin Dong's territory, it doesn't mean he can defeat Lin Dong. Lin Dong is the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking. He doesn't only rely on his territory. Even if his territory is suppressed, he'll still be able to unleash his techniques and deal a fatal blow to Master Duan. In the past, I've only heard about Master Duan's territory. Today, I'll be able to witness it with my own eyes. Duan Lingtian's territory had long been famous in Windfall Nation. Therefore, the onlookers were looking forward to seeing Duan Lingtian's territory. Ichem? He's so powerful? When Duan Lingtian's 10,000 Swords territory was forming, he was shocked to discover that Lin Dong's territory was different from the territories of the martial and Dao cultivators below the Saint stage that he had encountered before. It gave him an invisible pressure. His 10,000 Swords territory even faced a strong resistance in the process of forming it. Moreover, it might not be able to stop Lin Dong's territory from forming. This territory doesn't seem to be very powerful. However, it seems a little different. If that's the case, this Lin Dong is extremely close to the Saint stage. Even his territory has the aura of the Saint stage. Duan Lingtian did not believe that Lin Dong's territory was not inferior to his 10,000 Swords territory. Chapter 1634. However, I'm certain he's not at the saint stage yet. Duan Lingtian was certain of this. Putting everything else aside, the aura of a saint stage powerhouse was different. It seems like this powerhouse who's ranked first on the heaven ranking is no ordinary person. The strongest person below the saint stage in Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion really lives up to his name. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath. He no longer dared to underestimate Lin Dong. A few moments later, under everyone's watchful eyes, the two territories consolidated and merged almost at the same time. One of the territories had tens of thousands of solidified sword rays whistling in it. It set off the surrounding void as though it had transformed into a world of swords. The other territory had hundreds of whirlpools filled with green energy spinning in it. The whirlpools spun so quickly as though they could devour everything. And now, when these two domains overlapped, they were like fire and water. I didn't expect your territory to be on par with mine. I've really underestimated you. When he saw this scene, even Lin Dong could not help but reveal a shocked expression. In the past, when he was in Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion, his territory could easily devour the opponent's territory even when he was challenged by the second powerhouse on the heaven ranking. However, his territory did not have the upper hand when he faced Duan Lingtian's territory. Your territory has also exceeded my expectations, Duan Lingtian said nonchalantly. Although he did not have the upper hand in terms of territory, he did not mind. After all, his territory was not the only thing he was strong in. Don't tell me you think you can fight me just because you're on par with me in terms of territory? How naive. Duan Lingtian's calmness made Lin Dong very unhappy. In fact, before this he had heard that Duan Lingtian's strongest technique was territory. For this reason, he was not surprised when he saw Duan Lingtian's territory was on par with his territory. This was because he already knew what was going on. As the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking and the strongest person below the saint stage in Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion, his territory was not the only thing he was strong in. Whoosh. In an instant, a steel claw appeared on Lin Dong's right hand. The steel claw was directly clasped onto his hand. It shone with a cold light as if it could tear everything apart. It was obvious this was his saint weapon. Whoosh. Lin Dong suddenly made his move. It was as though he had transformed into a gust of wind as he shuttled between the world of swords and the world of whirlpools. Duan Lingtian's position. T. When Lin Dong lifted his hand, he raised his hand. Duan Lingtian's territory, claw marks on the other hand, Duan Lingtian's name, Duan Lingtian's names, Duan Lingtian's of Duan's territory. Claw, Duan Lingtian's of claw marks, Duan to Duan's sword was a Lingtian's. However, in the face of Lin Dong's probing attack, Duan Lingtian did not panic at all. With a raise of his hand he took out the sun-shooting bow. His true energy condensed into an arrow as he cast the colossal aerolite arrow's AoE attack, the aerolite shower. In just an instant, the sky was filled with arrows as though a meteor shower was raining down. You want to fight me head-on with a mere arrow shower? When Lin Dong sensed the aura of the arrows that filled the sky, he knew the attack power of the arrows was not strong. It was far inferior to the technique he cast. If he fought head-on, Duan Lingtian would be the one at a disadvantage, not him. Duan Lingtian's attack is actually so weak? The aerolite shower that Duan Lingtian cast caused the group of saint stage powerhouses present on the scene to feel slightly disappointed. It seems like Duan Lingtian's territory is only powerful. If it's not for the suppression of his territory, his strength might not even be comparable to Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. Many people thought to themselves when they saw this. He's digging his own grave. Situ Ming and Yi Feng sneered. King Qian was also smiling. It was as though he could already see the scene of the Devil Seal tablet falling into his hands. He even fantasized about forcing those saint stage devil cultivators to swear allegiance to him after he obtained the Devil Seal tablet. Otherwise he would use the Devil Seal tablet to kill them. Not only that, but there were also a few saint stage devil cultivators on King Rong's side. With the Devil Seal tablet, he would be able to kill those saint stage devil cultivators on his own. Master Duan. Situ Hao and Situ Hang had a worried expression on their faces. They could also see Duan Lingtian's technique was inferior to Lin Dong's. Only Bai Li Hong and the others remained calm. In fact, they were so calm because they saw Duan Lingtian's expression did not change much. He was still filled with confidence. They trusted Duan Lingtian unconditionally. As it turned out, they did not misjudge Duan Lingtian. Under the watchful eyes of the others, the shooting star arrow hail that they did not think highly of did not collide with the thousands of claw marks that Lin Dong had cast. Instead, it shot toward Duan Lingtian and formed a layer of defense around Duan Lingtian's body. The arrow rain whistled and formed the shape of a giant bell around Duan Lingtian's body. Colossal Arrow Bell. The technique that Duan Lingtian had cast was the most powerful technique in the Colossal Aerolite Arrow. It was also a defensive technique. As soon as the Colossal Arrow Bell appeared, the thousands of claw marks finally landed and bombarded the Colossal Arrow Bell, causing ripples to form on its surface. However, when the claw mark attack ended, the ripples on the Colossal Arrow Bell calmed down. The Colossal Arrow Bell was not damaged at all. At once, the entire place fell silent. What a powerful defensive technique. This defensive technique is beyond the human rank Saint grade martial tactics range. That's right. Duan Lingtian's defensive technique is comparable to an earth rank Saint grade martial tactics defensive technique. There was an uproar in the crowd. Some of the Saint stage powerhouses with sharp eyes could clearly see that Duan Lingtian's defensive technique was not simple. Top human rank Saint grade martial tactic. He must have cultivated a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic. Only a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic would have such a terrifying defensive technique. Soon, a Saint stage powerhouse exclaimed, "Top human rank Saint grade martial tactic." Everyone's eyes lit up when they heard that. Although they had not come into contact with a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic, they had seen it before. There was a technique in the top human rank Saint grade martial tactic that surpassed the ordinary human rank Saint grade martial tactic. It was comparable to an earth rank Saint grade martial tactic that could only be cultivated by powerhouses above the Saint stage. Even a 5th rated force might not have a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic. Naturally, this did not mean that those who cultivated a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic would be related to a 5th rated force or above. There were also people who had encountered some fortuitous encounters and obtained the inheritance of a former powerhouse. The inheritance contained a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic. Duan Lingtian actually cultivated a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic. Lin Dong's gaze changed completely when he looked at Duan Lingtian. Even their Lin clan, a 6th rated clan, did not possess a human rank Saint grade martial tactic. A human rank Saint grade martial tactic might not be useful to powerhouses above the Saint stage, but it was extremely helpful to powerhouses below the Saint stage. It seems like Duan Lingtian must have encountered some fortuitous encounter and obtained a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic. Perhaps, King Qin wants me to kill him and seize his spatial ring because he wants that set of Saint grade martial tactic as well. Soon after, Lin Dong recalled the matter that King Qin had asked him to do. To be honest, he was quite puzzled at first. The prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family actually wanted to seize the spatial ring of a 7th rated clan's interim advisor. What was in the spatial ring? Now he finally understood. King Qin is really wishful thinking. It's fine if I didn't discover it, but now that I've discovered it, I must share it with him. If he's not willing to share the Saint grade martial tactic with my Lin clan, he can forget about getting Duan Lingtian's spatial ring. At this moment, Lin Dong made up his mind. Until now, Lin Dong still felt that the spatial ring in Duan Lingtian's hand was already his. Even when Duan Lingtian cast the Colossal Arrow Bell, a defensive technique that was comparable to an earth-rank Saint grade martial tactic, he did not seem to be afraid at all. Duan Lingtian actually has a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic? King Qin's eyes widened in shock. Not only does he have the Devil Seal tablet, but he also has such a Saint grade martial tactic. What fortuitous encounter did he encounter? King Qin was pleasantly surprised after he recovered from his shock. After Duan Lingtian's death, the spatial ring would be his. Naturally, the top human rank Saint grade martial tactic would not be left behind. The top human rank Saint grade martial tactic was definitely a pleasant surprise. At this moment, most of the people present on the scene, including King Rong, were shocked by the news of Duan Lingtian possessing a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic. Many of them even had a hint of greed in their eyes. Who would not want a top human rank Saint grade martial tactic? Even if they were Saint stage powerhouses, they might not be able to use it. However, their descendants would be able to use it. For example, Lin Dong only wanted to bring Duan Lingtian's Saint grade martial tactic back to his clan. He was about to break through to the Saint stage, so he was not interested in such a Saint grade martial tactic. However, if he brought such a Saint grade martial tactic back to the Lin clan, it would undoubtedly be a great contribution. This contribution was enough to make his name in the Lin clan go down in history. Every time the Lin clan's descendants cultivated the Saint grade martial tactic, they would always think of him as the hero. The moment Lin Dong thought of this, A hint of greed could be seen in his eyes when he looked at Duan Lingtian. Although his opponent's defensive technique was powerful, he was not afraid he would not be able to break his opponent's defense. This was because the Saint weapon Steel Claw in his hand had 2 4-star Saint inscriptions. As long as the 2 4-star Saint inscriptions were activated, his opponent's defensive technique would definitely be broken. Are you thinking? You'll be able to obtain the top human rank Saint grade martial tactic that I cultivate after you kill me? Duan Lingtian asked bluntly when he saw the greed in Lin Dong's eyes. So what if I am? Chapter 1635. Although I don't know how you obtain the Saint grade martial tactic, as long as you die in my hands, I'll take everything you have, including the Saint grade martial tactic. Lin Dong said nonchalantly. Based on his words, it was as though he would definitely be able to kill Duan Lingtian. Everyone knows how to boast. You'll have to break my defensive technique first. Duan Lingtian said calmly as he looked at Lin Dong with the defensive light shield formed by the arrow chi around his body. I have to admit that your defensive technique is pretty good. However, if that's all you've got, you're going to die today. Lin Dong sneered. He was enraged when he saw Duan Lingtian looking down on him. As soon as he finished laughing, he immediately activated the 4 Saint inscriptions on the Saint weapon Steel Claw in his hand. 2 3-star Saint inscriptions and 2 4-star Saint inscriptions were activated simultaneously. In just an instant, as the Steel Claw in his hand swept out again, thousands of claw marks swept across the sky and shrouded Duan Lingtian. However, the claw marks this time were more than just a little bit stronger than before. The thousands of claw marks descended, causing the air to seem as though it was being sliced into countless pieces. Apart from the sharp aura that was emitted from each claw mark, there were also 4 different auras. 2 of the auras were weaker while the other 2 auras were stronger. It's the energy of the Saint inscriptions. Many of the onlookers could see Lin Dong's technique at once. 2 3-star Saint inscriptions. The other 2 seemed to be 4-star Saint inscriptions. Among the group of people from Situ clan, Bai Li Hong raised an eyebrow as shock appeared on his face. As expected of someone from the southern Ridge Yuan mansion, the Saint weapon in his hand is actually inscribed with 4 Saint inscriptions. Moreover, 2 of them are 4-star Saint inscriptions. As a Saint inscription master, Bai Li Hong naturally knew how difficult it was to inscribe 4 Saint inscriptions on a Saint weapon. Moreover, 2 of them were 4-star Saint inscriptions. Usually, a newly promoted 4-star Saint inscription master could only inscribe 1 4-star Saint inscription on a Saint weapon at most. In order to inscribe 2 4-star Saint inscription masters and let them coexist, these 4-star Saint inscription masters had to be extremely experienced. They were definitely not new 4-star Saint inscription masters. Similarly, the power of a 4-star Saint inscription was not something a 3-star Saint inscription could compare to. For a moment, Bai Li Hong's face turned solemn. Although Duan Lingtian was very powerful and had even killed a Saint stage powerhouse, Chen Kong, who was one of the supreme elders of the Moon Illumination sect, in front of him, Duan Lingtian was extremely powerful. However, after thinking about it, whether it was him, Sima Changfeng and the others, they all realized that the reason why Duan Lingtian was able to display such a powerful attack was because of the sword in his hand. Since that sword could allow Duan Lingtian, a mere paramount Saint rudiment stage martial cultivator, to kill a Saint stage powerhouse, it was obviously not an ordinary sword. Even the 10 Super Saint weapons on the 10 Great Saint weapons ranking in the Dao Martial Saint land were not that powerful. One of the reasons why they were so calm was because of Duan Lingtian's confidence. Most importantly, they recalled the scene where Duan Lingtian killed Chen Kong. As the saying went, too much concern leads to confusion. When they found out that Duan Lingtian was going to have a death duel with Lin Dong, the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the southern Ridge Yuan mansion, they did not think about the mysterious and powerful sword in Duan Lingtian's hand. I really hope junior brother won't use that sword. However, Bai Li Hong did not want Duan Lingtian to use that sword. This was because once that sword was exposed, Duan Lingtian would become the target of everyone. At that time, let alone the group of Saint stage powerhouses from Windfall Nation, even the group of Saint stage powerhouses from the southern Ridge Yuan mansion would covet the sword in his hand. This was because that sword was just too powerful. It was even more powerful than the 10 Super Saint weapons on the 10 Great Saint weapons ranking. Who would not be tempted? Although Bai Li Hong had such thoughts, he did not think it was realistic. The power of 2 4-star Saint inscriptions was no joke. Even if his junior brother cast the most powerful defensive technique in the top human rank Saint grade martial tactic, it would still be difficult for him to block it. 2 4-star saint inscriptions. It seems like Lin Dong's position in the Lin clan is not ordinary. King Rong's expression was extremely solemn. In fact, even in the Windfall Nation's imperial family, there were only a handful of saint weapons that were inscribed with 2 4-star saint inscriptions. Even he did not have one. Although there was a 4-star saint inscription master in the Windfall Nation's imperial family, that 4-star saint inscription master had only advanced a few years ago. He did not have the ability to inscribe 2 4-star saint inscriptions on a saint weapon. Due to this reason, the saint weapon that Lin Dong used was definitely a treasure in the Windfall Nation's imperial family. Even he, the second prince of the Windfall Nation's imperial family, did not have such a treasure. Initially, I thought it would be difficult for Lin Dong to break through Duan Lingtian's defense since he has cast such a powerful defense. However, it seems like it'll only take a moment for Lin Dong to break through Duan Lingtian's defense. That's right. That's the power of 2 4-star saint inscriptions. Just 1 4-star saint inscription is enough to break through Duan Lingtian's defense. With 2 4-star saint inscriptions coupled with the other 2 4-star saint inscriptions and Lin Dong's own strength, it's enough to break through Duan Lingtian's defense. I can't believe this death duel is going to end so soon after it began. The saint stage powerhouses present on the scene discussed among themselves. All of them felt Duan Lingtian's defense was nothing in the face of Lin Dong's attack. In their opinion, once Duan Lingtian's defense was broken, Duan Lingtian would definitely die. It's a pity you didn't die in my hands. Yi Feng gritted his teeth as he muttered. Duan Lingtian, this is the consequence of going against me. Murderous intent flashed in Situ Ming's eyes. Third brother Mr. Lin Dong is going to avenge you soon. A ferocious smile appeared on Yi Mubai's face. At the same time, the greed in King Qian's eyes intensified. It was as though he could already see the scene of him obtaining the Devil Seal tablet. Although it was apparent from Lin Dong's words that he was interested in the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic in Duan Lingtian's possession, Duan Lingtian did not mind at all. He could agree to share the Saint-grade martial tactic with Lin Dong. To him, the Devil Seal tablet was the real highlight. In front of the Devil Seal tablet, the value of the Saint-grade martial tactic was not even worth mentioning. At the very least, it was not worth mentioning to him. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the tens of thousands of claw marks landed on the arrow bell around Duan Lingtian's body. However, these claw marks did not cause any ripples. This was because all of them had entered the bell of arrows like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood, cutting the bell of arrows to pieces. Just as many people had expected, Duan Lingtian's defense was torn into pieces in just a blink of an eye under Lin Dong's powerful attack. Upon seeing this, even Bai Li Hong and the others who were confident in Duan Lingtian could not help but feel nervous. The scene before their eyes was just too dangerous. Even Bai Li Hong and the others could not help but stare at the figure in the shattered arrow bell nervously. Although they knew Duan Lingtian could kill an ordinary saint stage powerhouse with the help of the mysterious sword, that was only because he had the opportunity to swing the sword. Now that the situation was so urgent, it was uncertain if he would even have the opportunity to swing the sword. It's such a pity that he died just like that. Almost no one present thought Duan Lingtian would be able to survive under such circumstances. Master Duan. Situ Heng's eyes were bloodshot as his body began to tremble violently. He wanted to do something for Duan Lingtian, but there was nothing he could do. He could only watch helplessly. Duan Lingtian was his savior. If it was possible, he would rather die for him. Situ Hao and Situ Ho, who were standing at the side, shook their heads and sighed helplessly. Until now, they still could not understand why Duan Lingtian had to appear and participate in this death duel. In their opinion, this death duel was initiated by Lin Dong. To Duan Lingtian, it was a narrow escape for Duan Lingtian. He could have avoided it, but he chose not to. The group of people from King Qian's estate laughed. The group of people from King Rong's estate shook their heads. However, since Duan Lingtian was no longer a member of the Situ clan, he no longer had anything to do with King Rong's estate. Due to this reason, they only watched this death duel as though they were watching a show. This Duan Lingtian seems to have an unusual relationship with Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect. Perhaps, after he's killed by Lin Dong, I can make an issue out of this. As long as Lady Feng can get sect leader Ziyun from Drift Blaze sect to intervene, even if sect leader Ziyun doesn't dare to go against the Lin clan from Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion, she'll definitely be dissatisfied with Old Fourth. King Rong began to think of ways to make an issue out of Duan Lingtian's death so that his opponent, King Qian, would suffer. However, the rapidly changing scene in the arena caused King Rong to be stunned. Under the watchful eyes of the others, the tens of thousands of claw marks that tore apart the arrow bell around Duan Lingtian's body continued to fly toward the figure inside. Almost everyone thought Duan Lingtian would be torn into pieces by these claw marks. However, the sudden change in front of them caused them to be completely dumbfounded. That figure was indeed torn into countless pieces. However, it was only an afterimage and not Duan Lingtian's actual body. Duan Lingtian's over there. Among the spectators, there were many Saint Stage powerhouses from various 7th-rate forces. One of the Saint Stage powerhouses from an unknown force looked up at the sky and cried out in surprise. Everyone immediately shifted their attention to the horizon. There was a graceful figure standing on a flying sword that was shining with tens of thousands of brilliance. The flying sword continued to emit brilliance. It was as swift as the wind and as swift as fire. Duan Lingtian's territory is gone. And right at that moment someone else discovered this. The sword beneath his feet is consolidated from his territory. I can't believe a flying sword consolidated from his territory would grant him such a terrifying speed. Chapter 1636. Earlier, everyone's attention, including the Saint Stage powerhouses, was focused on the figure that was shrouded by the thousands of claw marks. They did not have the time to pay attention to anything else. Due to this reason, nobody noticed that Duan Lingtian's territory had already transformed into a sword that carried Duan Lingtian's body away. Lin Dong's attack missed just like that. When Bai Li Hong and the others saw this, they sighed in relief as a smile appeared on their faces. Master Duan. When Situ Hang saw that Duan Lingtian was unscathed, he smiled as though he was relieved of a heavy burden. Situ Hao and Situ Ho also sighed in relief. On the other hand, the group of people from King Qian's estate frowned at the same time. They did not expect such a ridiculous thing to happen. Under Lin Dong's powerful attack, Duan Lingtian actually managed to dodge it first? Duan Lingtian is really lucky. He didn't even die. Yi Feng gritted his teeth and said hatefully. He's lucky the first time, but he won't be so lucky the second time. Situ Ming snorted. Although King Qian and Yi Mubai did not say anything, they were frowning as well. It was obvious they were displeased by what had just happened. How fast? Too fast. Even most of the Saint Stage powerhouses present didn't seem to be able to react in time. Everyone was watching how Duan Lingtian was torn into pieces. Naturally, they didn't notice the change in his territory. I can't believe his territory can be used like this. Isn't this too exaggerated? As expected of the strongest powerhouse among the younger generation in Windfall Nation, he managed to escape from such a dangerous situation. Now, the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking from the southern Ridgyuan mansion must be embarrassed, right? As the onlookers discussed among themselves, many of them shifted their attention to Lin Dong. Their gazes were filled with mockery. Lin Dong's face turned pale when he saw these gazes. It did not cross his mind that Duan Lingtian would be able to dodge his strongest attack so easily. In his opinion, this was an impossible feat. His territory can be used like this? Naturally, Lin Dong also understood the reason Duan Lingtian was able to dodge his attack was due to the sword transformed from his territory. It was the sword that helped Duan Lingtian to dodge his attack. You've retracted your territory? Then I'll use my territory and my attack to kill you. Lin Dong took a deep breath as he looked at Duan Lingtian, who was standing in the air on his flying sword. Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian had completely enraged Duan Lingtian. Without warning, Duan Lingtian's territory, Duan Lingtian, Duan Ling territory. In an instant, as Lin Dong flew toward Duan Lingtian, his territory moved as well. In just a blink of an eye, it enveloped Duan Lingtian. At the same time, the vortexes in Lin Dong's territory spun faster and faster toward Duan Lingtian at a speed that was not inferior to Lin Dong's own. At the same time, Lin Dong launched another attack at Duan Lingtian. Along with the whirlpools that emitted a terrifying aura, they swept toward Duan Lingtian in a menacing manner. Wherever the whirlpools passed, the space seemed to tremble and distort. Based on this, one could see how terrifying they were. Lin Dong is serious now. Seeing this scene, everyone knew that Lin Dong was no longer holding back. However, even when faced with Lin Dong, who was no longer holding back, Duan Lingtian's flying sword trembled as it carried Duan Lingtian to dodge Lin Dong's attack. It should be noted that the speed of the flying sword under Duan Lingtian's feet was extremely close to the speed of a Saint Stage powerhouse. Unless it was a Saint Stage powerhouse, it was impossible for anyone below the saint stage to catch up to him. Duan Lingtian actually dodged it again? Isn't the sword formed by Duan Lingtian's territory a little too strange? It seems like it won't be easy for Lin Dong to kill Duan Lingtian in today's death duel. It won't just be easy. Since he can't touch Duan Lingtian, it's only natural that he can't do anything to Duan Lingtian, let alone kill Duan Lingtian. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian might be able to rely on his speed that's much faster than Lin Dong to turn the tables and kill Lin Dong. Kill Lin Dong? If he really succeeds, Duan Lingtian's name will definitely spread far and wide. I'm looking forward to the scene when the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking becomes someone from Windfall Nation. The situation had changed too quickly, and it was difficult for the people present on the scene to accept. Good. Very good. Just when everyone thought Lin Dong would be flustered and exasperated, he suddenly smiled. Moreover, it was a bright smile on his face. Lin Dong can still laugh at a time like this? Upon seeing this, many people had a strange expression on their faces. He can't have gone mad from anger, right? Many people whispered among themselves. The strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking only has such a temperament? He doesn't even have the courage to face defeat? Many people sneered. No wonder Master Duan didn't dodge even after he found out the death duel between him and Lin Dong was a death duel. After witnessing the speed of the flying sword under Duan Lingtian's feet, Situ Hang was completely at ease. I didn't expect Junior Brother to be invincible in the death duel with Lin Dong without using that sword. Bai Li Hong had a smile on his face. Among all the martial techniques in the world, only speed was invincible. Since he had the upper hand in terms of speed, it meant he was invincible. Sima Chang Feng and the others also sighed in relief with a smile on their faces. This fellow Duan Lingtian brings us a pleasant surprise every time we meet him. Qin Shaoshui sighed. Indeed. Nangongyi agreed with him. On the other hand, King Rong's estate frowned as his expression turned grave. It was also out of his expectation that things would turn out this way. Previously he thought Duan Lingtian would definitely die. He was even thinking about how to use Duan Lingtian's death to make King Qian stand against Drift Blaze sect. However, it seemed like Duan Lingtian might not be the one who would die in the end. If Duan Lingtian was still a member of the Situ clan, perhaps he would feel better. After all, to a certain extent, it could be said that Duan Lingtian belonged to King Rong's estate. However, Duan Lingtian had already left the Situ clan. Moreover, he had most likely left due to the pressure from King Rong's estate. Duan Lingtian definitely did not have a good impression of King Rong's estate. King Rong knew this without even thinking about it. Due to this reason he hoped Duan Lingtian would die. If Duan Lingtian did not die, he would be unhappy instead. Things have already come to this, but Old Fourth is still so calm? Soon after, King Rong noticed his archenemy, his fourth brother, King Qian, had a calm expression on his face after he frowned. It was as though he was not worried about Duan Lingtian's speed at all. Don't tell me Lin Dong hasn't unleashed his full strength yet? At this moment, King Rong could only think of this. At the same time, he looked at Lin Dong and saw that although Lin Dong was smiling, he was not laughing maniacally. Lin Dong's increasingly powerful gaze was filled with great confidence. Where did he get his confidence from? King Rong's heart skipped a beat. He was puzzled. At the same time, he was filled with anticipation. At some point, Lin Dong's laughter had stopped. However, the smile on his face did not disappear. He looked at Duan Lingtian and said nonchalantly, Duan Lingtian, I have to admit that you're really strong. You should be proud that you managed to force me to this extent. However, do you think that's all I have? The crowd who thought Lin Dong had gone mad with anger could not help but be stunned when they heard his words after he stopped laughing. Lin Dong can still say such words at this time? Don't tell me he still has a trump card up his sleeve? Earlier, apart from the True Energy Consolidated Weapon and True Energy Consolidated Beast, he didn't hold back at all. Don't tell me he still wants to rely on those two techniques to turn the situation around? What a joke. Even Lin Dong's True Energy Consolidated Territory technique can't do anything to Duan Lingtian. Even if he uses the True Energy Consolidated Weapon and True Energy Consolidated Beast, it's still impossible for him to turn the situation around. He even used a saint weapon that's inscribed with 2 4-star saint inscriptions. What other tricks does Lin Dong have? The people present on the scene looked at Lin Dong curiously. They wanted to know if he really had a trump card up his sleeve. If he did, what was it? They could not figure it out at all. Duan Lingtian raised his eyebrows when he saw how confident Lin Dong was. However, he was not intimidated by Lin Dong at all. What other tricks do you have? Feel free to use them. I'm going to die. Duan Lingtian's words were filled with confidence. You'll see soon enough. Lin Dong smiled sinisterly. Then, the true energy on his body swelled before it converged and entered his body through the pores on his body. At the same time, the space where Lin Dong was at began to ripple. Not only did the whirlpool in Lin Dong's territory merge again, but it even enveloped Lin Dong. Lin Dong, who was in the depths of the whirlpool, was rapidly absorbing the heaven and earth spirit energy in the air with the help of the whirlpool. When the heaven and earth spirit energy entered Lin Dong's body through the whirlpool, it was so substantial that it was visible to the naked eye. Is he cultivating? Upon seeing this, the people present on the scene could not help but be stunned. At the same time, they were rendered speechless. What was the point of cramming like this? Some people could not help but scoff. Don't tell me Lin Dong thinks he can break through to the saint stage at this time? Ha! Many people began to laugh. Naturally, they were making fun of Lin Dong. However, very soon they couldn't laugh anymore. This was because after a few moments, as the whirlpool around Lin Dong's body slowed down, a terrifying aura suddenly surged out of his body. Many people present on the scene could not help but feel fearful. Saint stage. It's the aura of the saint stage. Chapter 1637. Under such circumstances, Lin Dong's breakthrough to the saint stage was beyond the expectations of most of the people present on the scene. The reason it was said to be most of the people and not all of them was because some people did not seem surprised at all. Moreover, it was not just one person. Among the people from King Qian's estate, King Qian, who was the leader, and the two old men standing behind him did not seem shocked or surprised when they saw Lin Dong's breakthrough. Based on their calm expressions, it was obvious they had long known this would happen. In fact, they had long known this would happen. Lin Dong could have broken through to the saint stage a few months ago. The reason he did not break through was due to his battle with Duan Lingtian today. If he had broken through to the saint stage, put aside whether Duan Lingtian would be willing to fight with him, even if Duan Lingtian was willing and he won, people would say he had an unfair advantage and would look down on him for bullying the weak. However, breaking through to the saint stage in a death duel was a completely different concept. Even if he killed Duan Lingtian at this moment, nobody would say anything. King Qian and the two old men behind him were not surprised because they had long known about this. However, the others did not know about this. Due to this reason, they were all shocked. Among them were Situ Ming Yifeng and Yi Mu Bai. Earlier, when they saw Duan Lingtian's heaven-defying speed, they did not hold any hope that Lin Dong would be able to kill Duan Lingtian. They were in a bad mood. However, the scene before their eyes turned around and made them feel like they had ascended to heaven from hell. Lin Dong had broken through to the saint stage. Naturally, they knew what this meant. Duan Lingtian, you're dead meat. The three of them looked at Duan Lingtian with a hint of viciousness in their eyes. When the others saw Lin Dong who had broken through to the saint stage, they were so shocked that they could not regain their senses for a long time. When they finally regained their senses, all of them had a blank expression on their faces. Some of them could not help but rub their eyes to see if they were seeing things. However, the shocking scene in front of them seemed to be telling them that their eyes were not playing tricks on them, nor were they seeing things wrongly. Lin Dong had indeed broken through to the saint stage. It was not rare for one to have a breakthrough during a battle in the Dao Martial Saint Land. However, breaking through to the saint stage during a battle was rare even in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Lin Dong actually broke through? It's funny that I was just teasing him for cramming at the last minute. I didn't expect that he would really break through in such a short time. Duan Lingtian's speed was so fast that I thought he would be invincible and even kill Lin Dong. I didn't expect Lin Dong to break through to the saint stage at the most critical moment. Although Duan Lingtian's speed is fast, and it can even be said that it's hard to find a match for him below the saint stage. However, compared to the speed of a saint stage powerhouse, there's still a huge gap. Of course. Once a saint rudiment stage martial or Dao cultivator breaks through to the saint stage, it means that the true energy in the body will transform into true origin. True energy can't be compared to true energy at all. After the true energy transforms into true origin, the true energy consolidated weapon, consolidated beast, and consolidated territory will transform into the true energy consolidated weapon, consolidated beast, and consolidated territory. Duan Lingtian is really unlucky. Yes, he's really unlucky. He must have been confident in his speed when he accepted Lin Dong's death duel. He must have thought he'd be able to kill Lin Dong. However, I'm afraid he didn't expect Lin Dong would break through to the saint stage at the most critical moment. The group of onlookers' attention was completely focused on Lin Dong as they discussed among themselves. Based on his words, he was shocked by Lin Dong's breakthrough and felt pity for Duanling Tian. He felt Duanling Tian, who had the upper hand initially, would definitely die in Lin Dong's hands after Lin Dong had broken through to the saint stage. How could this be? How's this possible? Situ Hang's face was as pale as a sheet of paper. Previously, when he saw his savior, Duanling Tian, had displayed a speed that was much faster than Lin Dong, he thought Duanling Tian would be able to kill Lin Dong and was overjoyed. However, it did not cross his mind that Lin Dong would break through to the saint stage in just a blink of an eye. This was undoubtedly a disaster for Duanling Tian. Situ Hao and Situ Ho were also dumbfounded. They were rendered speechless as they stared blankly at Lin Dong, whose aura had changed drastically after he had broken through to the saint stage. He has broken through to the saint stage? When Bai Li Hong and the others saw Lin Dong had broken through to the saint stage, their expressions turned grave immediately. When they recalled the sword that Duanling Tian had used to kill the Moon Illumination Sect's Supreme Elder, they were not worried about his safety. However, when they thought about how Duanling Tian would reveal the sword to everyone after he took it out, they could not help but feel worried for Duanling Tian. Even the top powerhouses in Windfall Nation would be tempted by that sword. They believed that once that sword was exposed, Duanling Tian's situation would surely not be any better. Moreover, it might even alert the powerhouses in the southern Ridgyuan mansion. Duanlingdan, you're really unlucky to have encountered me when I'm breaking through to the saint stage. With your speed, if I hadn't broken through to the saint stage, I'm most likely not a match for you. However, now that I've broken through to the saint stage, you're just an ant in front of me, an ant that I can trample on. Lin Dong's aura had changed drastically after he had broken through to the saint stage. He looked at Duanling Tian condescendingly as he said in a cold tone. Encountered you when you're breaking through to the saint stage? Duanling Tian sneered when he saw Lin Dong looking down at him. I'm afraid it's not a coincidence. It's premeditated, right? Duanling Tian also noticed that Lin Dong's breakthrough to the saint stage had shocked most people, including Situ Ming and Yi Feng. However, King Qian and the two people behind King Qian were the only ones who remained calm, as though they knew this would happen. Due to this reason, he was almost certain Lin Dong could have broken through to the saint stage long ago, but he had been suppressing his cultivation base and waiting for this moment to break through. It's premeditated? Upon hearing Duanling Tian's words, Lin Dong was shocked. It was apparent he did not expect Duanling Tian to be able to notice this. However, naturally he did not show his shock on his face. He said indifferently, say whatever you want. No matter what, you're going to die today. The moment his words left his mouth, the whirlpools within a 100-meter radius with Lin Dong in the center spun faster and faster. Not only that, but the color of the whirlpools had also deepened. Although the True Origin Consolidated Territory and the True Energy Consolidated Territory worked on the same principle, due to the difference in the nature of the energy, the power of Lin Dong's territory was far from what his previous territory could compare to. At the same time, the true origin around Lin Dong's body became active as though it was about to burst out at any moment. Lin Dong, if I'm not mistaken, King Qian must have promised you something when he invited you here from the southern Ridgyuan mansion to kill me. He asked you to give him my spatial ring after killing me, right? Duanling Tian asked nonchalantly as he looked at Lin Dong. The moment Duanling Tian's words left his mouth, most of the people present on the scene shifted their attention to King Qian in unison. In fact, before this, most of them thought Lin Dong was the one who took the initiative to challenge Duanling Tian. They did not know why Lin Dong, the strongest powerhouse on the heaven ranking, would do this. However, now that they heard Duanling Tian's words, they seemed to have an answer to the question that they could not figure out previously. Lin Dong was invited by King Qian. Moreover, he wanted to obtain Duanling Tian's spatial ring. King Qian wants Duanling Tian's spatial ring? Don't tell me there's a treasure in Duanling Tian's spatial ring? Isn't it obvious? If it's not for the treasure in Duanling Tian's spatial ring, why would King Qian invite Lin Dong from the southern Ridgyuan mansion to our Windfall Nation to have a death duel with a stranger? He must have paid a hefty price to invite Lin Dong here. The treasure in Duanling Tian's spatial ring must be extraordinary if King Qian is willing to pay such a price. King Qian must have known beforehand that Duanling Tian has a top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic. He wanted to take it for himself, but he couldn't find a chance to do so. Therefore he could only invite Lin Dong here. After all, Duanling Tian was the interim advisor of Situ clan previously. To a certain extent, he's also considered as one of King Rong's people. He wouldn't dare to let the powerhouses from King Qian's estate make a move so easily. If that's the case, everything makes sense now. King Qian wants Duan Lingtian's Saint-grade martial tactics, so he invited Lin Dong here to issue a death duel with Duan Lingtian. After killing Duan Lingtian, Lin Dong would hand over Duan Lingtian's spatial ring to him. The onlookers discussed among themselves. All of them thought King Qian's target was the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic in Duan Lingtian's possession. King Rong's eyes turned cold as he snorted. He thought so as well. However, when he thought about how Lin Dong had broken through to the Saint stage, Duan Lingtian would definitely die, he continued to think about how he could make use of Duan Lingtian's death to provoke Lady Feng from Drift Blaze sect so that Zi Yun, the sect leader of Drift Blaze sect, would intervene in this matter. When the people present on the scene regained their senses, their eyes were filled with pity as they looked at Duan Lingtian. A man's wealth is his own fault. This sentence was very appropriate to describe Duan Lingtian at this moment. A sneer appeared on the corner of King Qian's mouth. A top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic? Before today he did not know Duan Lingtian possessed such a Saint-grade martial tactic at all. What he was after was far more precious than a top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic. Naturally, among the people in King Qian's estate, apart from King Qian himself and the two old men behind him, only Yi Feng knew about this. Naturally, among the people present on the scene, there was another person who guessed it. It was Duan Lingtian. Although Duan Lingtian had guessed correctly, Lin Dong had no intention of replying to him. Instead he snorted coldly. Duan Lingtian, do you think it's useful for you to say all this at this moment? No matter how eloquent you are, you won't be able to escape death today. Lin Dong, don't tell me you're the same as them? Do you think King Qian is only after the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic in my possession? Chapter 1638. Lin Dong, don't tell me you're the same as them and think King Qian is only after the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic in my possession? One had to admit that Duan Lingtian's words were very damaging. The moment Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, not only did King Qian and the two old men behind him have a change in expression, but even Lin Dong could not help but frown. At the same time he instinctively glanced at King Qian and saw the change in King Qian's expression. His heart instantly skipped a beat. Don't tell me there's another treasure in Duan Lingtian's spatial ring? Based on Duan Lingtian's tone, the treasure King Qian is after seems to be on par with the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic. Lin Dong's eyes lit up immediately. He had already decided that as long as he killed Duan Lingtian, he would take Duan Lingtian's spatial ring for himself. As for King Qian, he would no longer bother about him. He would also return the deposit that King Qian had given him. Let alone the treasure that was obviously more precious than the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic. The value of the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic was much higher than the reward that King Qian had promised him. Duan Lingtian has another treasure? Based on Duan Lingtian's tone, it seems like he has another treasure that's even more precious than the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic. What's that? I'm starting to get curious. King Qian's expression has changed. It's obvious he didn't expect Duan Lingtian would reveal that he has a treasure that's even more precious than the top human rank Saint-grade martial tactic. At this point, Duan Lingtian must think he can't keep the treasure, so he took the initiative to reveal it. It's obvious he's going all out. The onlookers discussed among themselves. Many of them noticed the change in King Qian's expression. King Rong narrowed his eyes as he stared at Duan Lingtian with a burning gaze. He was also curious about the treasure in Duan Lingtian's possession that could make King Qian lose his composure after hearing Duan Lingtian's words. Bai Li Hong, Sima and the others frowned. They did not know what Duan Lingtian was up to. Even if he had a better treasure, he shouldn't have revealed it, right? The others thought Duan Lingtian only revealed this matter because he was certain he would die. However, they knew Duan Lingtian would not die. At the very least, he would not die in Lin Dong's hands. It was impossible for him to die in Lin Dong's hands. What's Duan Lingtian trying to do? Is he going to tell me he's telling me about the Devil Seal tablet to die? King's expressions. He regretted that he had brought him here today. Was he not telling Duan Lingtian that Yi Feng had told him about the Devil Seal tablet? It was not difficult for him to figure out why Duan Lingtian was doing this. He must have thought he was going to die and could not keep the Devil Seal tablet. He did not want Duan Lingtian to have the Devil Seal tablet. Mr. Lin, kill him now. If you kill him, apart from the double reward I promised you, I'll give you the top human rank Saint grade martial tactic in his possession as well. Quick, quick, kill him now. King Qian, who was worried Duan Lingtian would tell Lin Dong about the Devil Seal tablet, immediately transmitted his voice to Lin Dong. He urged Lin Dong to kill Duan Lingtian as soon as possible. After all, only the dead would not speak. However, Lin Dong had already made up his mind to go solo and not play with King Qian anymore. Naturally, he did not take King Qian's voice transmission seriously. As for the trouble he would face after obtaining Duan Lingtian's spatial ring, he was not worried about it at all. He had the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion's Lin clan behind him. With his status in the Lin clan, even the entire Windfall Nation's imperial family would not dare to do anything to him, let alone King Qian. As long as he claimed ownership of Duan Lingtian's spatial ring, who would dare to make things difficult for him? Naturally, if he returned to the Southern Ridge Yuan Mansion just like that, he would definitely be intercepted and killed on his way back. He had already decided that after he killed Duan Lingtian and obtained Duan Lingtian's spatial ring, he would announce that he would visit the Windfall Nation's imperial family as a guest and was willing to share the top human rank Saint grade martial tactic with them. In that case, the Windfall Nation's imperial family would not have any reason to do anything to him. King Qian's anxiety made him realize that the other treasure in Duan Lingtian's possession was much more valuable than the human rank Saint grade martial tactic. Due to this reason, he felt he would not lose out by sharing the Saint grade martial tactic with the Windfall Nation's imperial family. After all, if King Qian did not invite him here, he would not have obtained such a great benefit. He had to report back to the Windfall Nation's imperial family. If King Qian knew what Lin Dong was thinking, he would be so angry that he would throw up blood. The reason King Qian invited you to kill me and obtain my spatial ring is because he wants to snatch the Devil Seal tablet from me. Just when Lin Dong was about to kill Duan Lingtian and snatch his spatial ring, Duan Lingtian suddenly spoke again. He spoke quickly, and his voice contained a vast amount of true energy. His voice resonated in the air, and in just a blink of an eye, it entered the ears of everyone present on the scene, causing them to be in shock. The Devil Seal tablet. One must admit that these 3 words were extremely shocking. At the very least, when Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, even Lin Dong, who was about to kill Duan Lingtian, temporarily stopped moving. He was completely stunned. Although he knew the other treasure in Duan Lingtian's possession was not simple, he did not expect it to be the Devil Seal tablet. Naturally, he was no stranger to the Devil Seal tablet. It was one of the 10 great Super Saint weapons that were extremely famous in the Dao Martial Saint land. It was one of the top Super Saint weapons on the 10 Great Saint weapons ranking. Although it was no different from an ordinary divine weapon, its true function was to suppress and kill devil cultivators. To a devil cultivator, the Devil Seal tablet was no different from a nightmare. Not only was Lin Dong shocked when he heard the words Devil Seal tablet, but the others present on the scene were also shocked. Most of them had more or less heard of this Super Saint weapon on the 10 Great Saint weapons ranking. They also knew about the Devil Seal tablet's function and how attractive it was. However, all this while, the Devil Seal tablet had always been an ethereal existence in their eyes. It had never crossed their minds that the Devil Seal tablet would appear before their eyes one day. To be more precise, it would appear in the hands of the person in front of them. Damn it! Horror dawned on King Qian's face. At this moment, he no longer cared about anything else as he shouted in a deep voice, "Attack!" The moment his words left his mouth, the 2 old men behind him made their moves in unison as they charged toward Duan Lingtian. Wind and thunder rumbled as the 2 Saint stage powerhouses passed by, causing the air to tremble. When King Qian ordered the 2 Saint stage powerhouses to make their moves, King Rong did not want to fall behind. He ordered the 3 old men behind him to make their moves as well as they charged toward Duan Lingtian. The 5 old men, 5 Saint stage powerhouses, wanted to kill Duan Lingtian and snatch his spatial ring. However, there was only one Duan Lingtian, and it was difficult for the 2 groups of people to divide it. Due to this reason, the 2 groups of people began to fight each other. For a time, the scene was chaotic, and the sky seemed to have changed color. At this time, the group of onlookers also came back to their senses one after another. King Qian, since you want the Devil Seal tablet, I'll give it to you. At this moment, Duan Lingtian shouted as he sent a stone tablet with a chipped corner flying toward King Qian after accumulating his strength. To be more precise, it was flying toward King Qian's back. To be more precise, it was flying toward Yi Feng. Damn it! When Yi Feng saw the Devil Seal tablet flying toward him, horror dawned on his face, unlike King Qian, who was excited. It was because the Devil Seal tablet had locked onto his aura. The appearance of the Devil Seal tablet was beyond Yi Feng's expectation. He did not even have time to accumulate his energy. Due to this reason, before he could mobilize the true origin in his body, the Devil Seal tablet had already arrived in front of him and killed him. To be more precise, it destroyed his soul. With his soul destroyed, Yi Feng's body fell to the ground like a corpse. With a loud thud, it landed at the foot of the North Pillar Mountain and turned into a pile of minced meat. At this moment, the entire place fell silent. Even the 2 powerhouses from King Qian's estate and the 3 powerhouses from King Rong's estate stopped fighting. Horror dawned on their faces when they saw Yi Feng, a dignified devil cultivator, had died just like that. Swoosh. When everyone's attention was on the Devil Seal tablet, they saw the Devil Seal tablet had turned around and was flying toward one of the powerhouses from King Rong's estate after killing Yi Feng. This powerhouse was the only devil cultivator among the 3 Saint Stage powerhouses that King Rong brought along. A Saint Stage devil cultivator. No. When the Saint Stage devil cultivator felt his aura being locked onto, horror dawned on his face. The first thought that came to his mind was to flee. However, even with the help of his 2 companions, he could not escape death in the end. The Devil Seal tablet seemed to have been injected with chicken blood as it killed him. After killing 2 Saint Stage devil cultivators one after another, there was no need to explain the identity of the stone tablet with a missing corner that was shining with a black brilliance. Only the Devil Seal tablet, one of the 10 great Super Saint weapons on the 10 great Saint weapons ranking in the Tao Martial Saint land, would have such a heaven-defying power. It was activated by a Saint Rudiment Stage Martial Cultivator to kill 2 Saint Stage Devil Cultivators. It's really the Devil Seal tablet. How terrifying. It's even more terrifying than the rumors say. This is only activated by a Saint Rudiment Stage Devil Cultivator. If a Saint Stage powerhouse activates the Devil Seal tablet, won't it be even more powerful? As expected of one of the 10 great Super Saint weapons. The group of onlookers stared at the Devil Seal tablet that was spinning in the air with burning desire in their eyes. Most of them had a hint of greed in their eyes. Of course, although they all wanted to take the Devil Seal tablet for themselves, they also knew that the Devil Seal tablet was not something they could take. King Qian's estate and King Rong's estate were not people they could afford to offend. At this moment, whether it was King Rong or King Qian, their eyes were filled with greed when they looked at the Devil Seal tablet. Duan Lingtian, how dare you? At this moment, Lin Dong finally regained his senses from the powerful Devil Seal tablet. His expression turned grave as he glared at Duan Lingtian. He did not expect Duan Lingtian would take the Devil Seal tablet out. King Qian, I said I'll give you the Devil Seal tablet, so I'll give it to you. At the same time, Duan Lingtian, who ignored Lin Dong, spoke again. Chapter 1639. Soon after, the Devil Seal tablet arrived in front of King Qian. The black glossy surface around the Devil Seal tablet gradually disappeared as well. Subsequently, the Devil Seal tablet that had returned to its original state slowly descended and landed in King Qian's outstretched hand. King Qian was excited when he obtained the Devil Seal tablet. At this moment, apart from Duan Lingtian, everyone's attention was focused on King Qian. To be more precise, they were focused on the Devil Seal tablet in King Qian's hand. The moment the Devil Seal tablet appeared, it was destined to be the center of attention. Whoosh! Just when everyone, including Lin Dong, was looking at the Devil Seal tablet in King Qian's hand, a short-lived sword cry clearly entered the ears of all the Saint Stage powerhouses present on the scene. Only Saint Realm experts could hear the sound of the sword whistling through the air. Naturally, Lin Dong was one of them. Oh no! The instant he heard the sword whistle, Lin Dong did not even have the time to react before he felt an extremely terrifying aura lock onto him. This aura was filled with endless killing intent, causing him to be frightened to the point that his expression instantly changed. This was destined to be the last expression on Lin Dong's face. When the group of Saint Stage powerhouses turned around, they only saw a sword ray disappearing into the horizon. At the same time, Lin Dong was slashed into 2 and was killed. On the other hand, Lin Dong's opponent, Duan Lingtian, was still in the posture of wielding his sword. However, he had already put away the sword in his hand. It was replaced by a 3-foot-long green sword that was condensed from true energy. It was constantly emitting sword rays as it emitted a sharp aura. When the group of Saint Stage powerhouses who were the first to regain their senses saw Lin Dong's death, they were shocked. They did not expect this to happen. Lin Dong, who had already broken through to the Saint Stage, was killed by Duan Ling Tian with a single sword strike? Is it because Lin Dong's attention was on the Devil Seal tablet that Duan Ling Tian had an opportunity to attack? For a time many Saint Realm experts guessed in their hearts. However, they soon overturned this speculation. It would be difficult for a non-Saint Realm martial cultivator to injure a Saint Realm expert even if it was a sneak attack, even if the Saint Realm expert had just broken through. There was a huge gap between the Saint Realm and the Saint Realm. The two were not on the same level at all. Therefore, even if it was a sneak attack, Duan Ling Tian would not be able to kill Lin Dong. However, the truth was right before their eyes, and they had no choice but to believe it. However, only a group of Saint Stage powerhouses had their attention on the Devil Seal tablet in King Qian's hand. The Devil Seal tablet was too attractive to them. They did not even notice Lin Dong's death. Of course, this was also because they didn't hear that short-lived ear-piercing sword howl. After the group of Saint Stage powerhouses recovered from their shock, they looked at Duan Ling Tian in horror. However, they recalled the Devil Seal tablet and instantly shifted their attention to King Qian. Lin Dong's death, the demon sealing tombstone. Between the two, it was obvious that the latter was more attractive to them. Fourth Prince Lin Dong is dead. At this moment, the two old men behind King Qian could not help but remind him. What? Upon hearing the two old men's words, King Qian jolted. It was as though a bucket of cold water had been splashed on his head, causing him to regain his senses. He immediately looked at the void where Lin Dong was. All he saw was a faint blood mist in the void. Lin Dong was nowhere to be seen. How could this be? Who killed him? King Qian was stunned. He was completely stunned. Naturally, it did not cross his mind that Duan Ling Tian was the one who killed Lin Dong. In his opinion, Duan Ling Tian was only a Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator. It was impossible for him to threaten Lin Dong's life. At this moment, the others more or less noticed that something was amiss. Where's Lin Dong? Why is Lin Dong gone? Many people were stunned. They looked left and right but they did not see Lin Dong at all. If they descended from the sky and looked at the ground, they would definitely see Lin Dong's body that had been smashed into two pieces. Although the group of Saint Stage powerhouses knew what had happened, they did not take the initiative to remind them since their attention was focused on the Devil Seal tablet in King Qian's hand. Due to this reason, the others still had no idea what had happened. However, Lin Dong's disappearance was nothing to them. The Devil Seal tablet was the focus of their attention. Junior brother, that Lin Dong, Bai Li Hong on the other hand seemed to have vaguely guessed something. However, he could not help but ask through voice transmission. Senior brother, don't worry. Lin Dong is already dead. He's no longer a threat, Duan Ling Tian replied through voice transmission. You used that sword? Bai Li Hong asked. Apart from that sword, he could not think of any other method his junior brother had to kill Lin Dong who had already broken through to the Saint Stage. Yes. Duan Ling Tian nodded. You didn't expose yourself, right? Bai Li Hong asked again. No. Duan Ling Tian shook his head and explained, at the moment I made my move, their attention was focused on the Devil Seal tablet in King Qian's hand. They didn't notice me at all. When they returned to their senses, I had already put it away. Upon hearing this, Bai Li Hong sighed in relief. Then he asked again, Junior brother, don't tell me you're really going to give the Devil Seal tablet to King Qian? How's that possible? Senior brother, just sit back and watch the show. Duan Ling Tian continued to reply through voice transmission. There was a hint of a smile in his voice. Upon hearing this, Bai Li Hong was shocked. He immediately looked at the Devil Seal tablet in King Qian's hand. When everyone's attention returned to the Devil Seal tablet in his hand, King Qian realized he was in danger. With just a thought, he wanted to put the Devil Seal tablet into his spatial ring. The moment the thought left his mind, the Devil Seal tablet in his hand disappeared. Naturally, he thought he had already put the Devil Seal tablet into his spatial ring. He immediately called out to the two old men behind him, let's go back to King Qian's estate. After saying that, King Qian turned around and prepared to leave. However, was it possible for him to leave at this moment? Old Fourth, as the saying goes, those who see it have a share. Don't tell me you're thinking of taking the Devil Seal tablet for yourself? King Rong's indifferent voice resonated in the air. Then he led the two remaining Saint Stage powerhouses to block King Qian's path. It was as though he would not let King Qian leave if he did not share the loot with him. He was heartbroken that a Saint Stage devil cultivator had died. If the Devil Seal tablet was taken away by King Qian at this moment, it would be equivalent to him losing a Saint Stage powerhouse for nothing. Naturally, he did not dare to believe it. Naturally, even if he did not have any subordinates, he would not let go of a super saint weapon like the Devil Seal Tablet easily. When King Qin saw King Rong blocking his path, his expression turned grave immediately. For a moment he did not even address him as second brother. King Rong, the Devil Seal Tablet was given to me by Duan Lingtian. What does it have to do with you? King Rong snorted coldly and ignored King Qin's words. No matter what, he must have a share of the loot from the Devil Seal Tablet today. Even if he could not keep it for himself, he would not let King Qin keep it for himself. Naturally, he knew very well about the influence of the Devil Seal Tablet. If King Qin obtained the Devil Seal Tablet, it would be no different from giving a tiger a pair of wings. As King Qin's opponent, he naturally did not want King Qin to become even more powerful. Due to this reason, he could not let King Qin take the Devil Seal Tablet away just like that. Apart from the people from King Rong's estate, the Saint Stage powerhouses from the other forces also coveted the Devil Seal Tablet. However, they felt helpless in the face of King Qin's estate and King Rong's estate. They could only watch the show from the side. At the same time, some of the Saint Stage powerhouses who were watching the show revealed that Lin Dong was killed by Duan Lingtian. An uproar broke out immediately. Duan Lingtian instantly killed Lin Dong with a sneak attack with a sword? Although a sneak attack was not something to be proud of, the fact that a non-Saint Stage martial cultivator could kill a Saint Stage powerhouse with a sneak attack, even if the Saint Stage powerhouse had just recently broken through to the Saint Stage, was enough to shock everyone. Duan Lingtian instantly became the center of attention. Duan Lingtian actually killed Lin Dong? What a twist! When Duan Lingtian displayed his speed that was faster than Lin Dong, I thought Lin Dong would be the one to die. After Lin Dong had broken through to the Saint Stage, I thought Duan Lingtian would be the one to die. I didn't expect Lin Dong would be the one to die in the end. Earlier, Lin Dong must have had his attention on the Devil Seal Tablet just like us. Due to this reason, he did not guard against Duan Lingtian. Otherwise, Duan Lingtian's sneak attack wouldn't have succeeded. Although a sneak attack doesn't have a good reputation, how many Saint Rudiment Stage martial cultivators can kill a Saint Stage powerhouse with a sneak attack in the Dao martial Saint land? At the very least, I've never heard of anyone who can do that. That's right. Even if Duan Lingtian did a sneak attack, it's still something to be proud of. After all, he killed a Saint Stage powerhouse with a sneak attack when he's only at the Saint Rudiment Stage. Originally, a sneak attack was something to be despised. However, when this happened between a non-Saint Stage powerhouse and a Saint Stage powerhouse, and the latter was killed by the former, nobody thought the former was too much. Moreover, Duan Lingtian and Lin Dong were originally engaged in a death duel. Even if Lin Dong was killed because he was distracted, it was his own fault. He could not blame anyone else. Master Duan actually killed Lin Dong? Among the people from Situ clan, apart from Situ Hao and Situ Ho who already knew Duan Lingtian had killed Lin Dong, Situ Hang who had just found out about this was also completely stunned. He did not expect the situation to take such a drastic turn. In fact, before this he did not have any hope in Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian is really amazing. So what if Lin Dong had broken through to the Saint Stage? Wasn't he still killed by Duan Lingtian? Qin Shaoshui laughed out loud with a smug expression on his face. It was as though he was the one who killed Lin Dong and not Duan Lingtian. How did this happen? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.